Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Saturday night Shadow Chat. Tonight, something completely different on tap for all you guys out there in TV land. Tonight, we're going to talk about UFOs, aliens, and the terrifying shadow people. Tonight, I'm going to invite a bunch of people in, but I just want to ask that you come on in with a story about one of the three topics that we have for tonight. And preferably we'll do them in order: UFOs, aliens, and then end the night with the shadow people right before you all, head off to bed. Or, well, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You know the deal. So just a moment. I'm going to invite some people in. My son is getting ready as usual, typical teenager fashion. Not quite ready for prime time, but he will be ready in just a few short minutes to come on in and co-pilot for me tonight, because had a couple little issues last week where the text on the chat is a little small for this old guy, and so I have to hit the chat. It brings it up on the main screen underneath my handsome face, and then I can read it a little better and I can say hey to everybody. But before I get started with that, I want to wish our good friend Eric Tenkar a happy 55th birthday. Man, you are one of the greats out there. You're one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and I hope tonight is absolutely stellar for you. Even if you never watch this, it's out there in the ether, bringing you some good vibes, and hopefully you and the missus will have a wonderful evening, and I hope you have many, many more happy birthdays. Also, again, thank you, James L. I see you're already in here. We absolutely are digging these little tiny little minis. They are going to be one of the biggest challenges we've ever faced together as a painting dynamic duo, and we can't thank you enough, sir. And the other package, I'm sure, will be here any day, and we'll try to open that up on screen too, so you can see our bright and shiny faces. Howdy, Connell, you ready to come on in? James, you want to come on in? You are more than welcome. You'll always have a place here at the Shadow and Sun, both you guys. My good friend Nathan Allen will be here in just a second as well, and hopefully a couple other familiar faces. Sean, if you're out there, I know you're just laughing at us, but you're more than welcome to come in and be the skeptic amongst us, and you're not the only skeptic. I've had encounters with all three of our topics. I don't know what I saw. I don't know what they were, but I'm open-minded enough to discuss it and see what all you guys think. Just to toss it around the old football, so to speak. See what we all think. I know my good friend Nathan is a veritable expert on this sort of thing. I've been watching his channel for a couple years now, and he's one of my go-to guys for this sort of thing. My friend Kevin, I know he's got his own opinions as well, and hopefully with a little luck, he'll be able to chime on in this time. We'll be able to hear him as well as laugh at him in person. No, he's one of my oldest, dearest friends, and I hope he got the message I just sent him. Packages. I thought it was just one package there, James. You're killing me, man. I'm running out of room. Where am I going to store all these tiny, tiny, tiny little metal miniature men? All right, Nathan. Quick restroom break, and you'll be in. Let me hit the old invite, copy the clipboard. I'm posting the link in the chat right now. Hopefully we won't have, like 10 people jump in. But if we do, we'll just do this round robin style, going clockwise from my perspective. So basically, first in, first story. Wow, James, I'm gonna have to get you back. I'm gonna have to figure some way to send you something special from the Shadow and Sun studio, something personalized. Just to show our appreciation, because man, you are one generous, funny son of a bitch. And don't take that the wrong way, because I'm sure your parents were married and your mom was a wonderful person. But well, that's just what good, what friends, that's what we call each other. Connell, get your ass in here. How the hell are you doing?
Good, you?
Great. Ready to start the show. I hope you got some good UFO, alien, or shadow people stories for us.
I don't have any good alien ones.
Those are the rare.
Yeah,
I mean, if you'd actually been abducted, I'm sure you'd never hear the end of it from guys like me. But,
right, and it's like the Bigfoot.
No. If you ever have, this is a friendly environment. We're all here to talk about these things and see who can creep the others out the most. I'm actually surprised. My son has actually got a couple of stories that I was familiar with a couple of them, but not all of them. He's ready. Let's get this little guy in.
Why is it so hot? Why are you sweating? A lot.
Get your foot in. Take a spot. Grab a bottle of water. Come on in.
I'm trying to get the dog out of the way.
Get down here, man. That's a cardinal sin.
I just tripped the dog. See, that's what I was worried about.
But don't worry about him. You can get another one.
That's expensive.
Nah, he was 50 cents.
No, you what? Wait, was it?
No, he's $50. Really.
That's a lot more. Let's also. Why not?
So, I got a question for you there, Jack. For ROTC or R as OC?
AFJ
Are they gonna have to? Are you going to get a haircut?
Yes.
Your dad should take the long hair and frame it with the sign that says "The Last of the Mohicans" with it.
Let's get the little guy in the camera here.
Actually, I would be surprised, Jack, if you've ever actually even seen that movie.
No, probably not, because I absolutely hated the movie. I love the story, but there was a part of the movie that I absolutely hated and couldn't watch any further. When the guy left his girlfriend and said, I'll be back, I just couldn't. I couldn't do that.
I don't remember that happening in the book.
Yeah, I don't remember it happening in the book either, and it was just one of those things. I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't leave your woman behind like that. I have to rewatch it and see if I still understood it the same way. I was pretty young, but hey, you're not on the camera, buddy.
He left her with a British lieutenant to get her to the fort, if I'm remembering correctly. But, it's even been about 20 years for me since the last time I've seen it. So,
Did you have a good week, man?
Why'd you say it like that?
That's what he said, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, get in the camera. What's going on here?
I will. When you move. I'll move this. Also.
There we go.
Yeah.
It makes me bad, I'm okay with that. Widens me out.
Nathan, buddy, come on in. Hey, man, great to finally see you on the screen. I know we've talked before, but hope you enjoyed the song.
We've been trying for a month.
I know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a little clip of it.
Wait, what?
Just because.
Wow.
All right, folks, I'm ready. It's a song called "The Vigil" by the world famous Blue Oyster Cult. That is the song. When I heard that song off their most disco album ever from 1977 called "Mirrors," I absolutely fell in love with the band. The song's a little hokey at parts, but it's got this chorus that just lifts you up into the sky, man. If you get a chance, I'll try to put it in the header or somewhere. I'll put it in there in the description or something, and maybe you guys will give it a listen and get back to me. How you doing, man? 28, Rick, right? Can you hear us? No, you can't hear us.
Hey, sorry guys, I can't hear. I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll wait for you.
Yeah.
So Nathan, tell us a little bit about yourself, because my friends here probably have never met you before. I've talked a lot about you. They know you're a big Star Wars guy and a big action figure guy, and that's how we met on YouTube. And we've been friends ever since. Still waiting for that craft challenge, but we won't talk about that.
I gotta be in the mood for it, dude.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I'm looking at it. It's waiting for me too. I gotta be in the mindset to get it done.
Don't
you know,
let it, man. I know exactly how it is. I built a what was it, a siege tower like almost 2 years ago, and I never finished it. And we've got this cursed thing that anytime we work with like popsicle stick, it's just like something happens. But we kind of busted through that this month and
Hold on
fixed it.
just 1 second. You continue.
What are you doing?
I don't like hearing the carpet being ripped up.
No. Do it again and you go outside. You hear me?
So my name is Connell. Nice to meet you. Shadows being rude.
nice to meet you.
I'm sorry, yeah. Rick, jump. Get back in here, man. Fix your stuff.
So what part of the world are you from?
I am in Tennessee. I'm living in Nashville,
beautiful.
Tennessee.
You are a lucky mofo. I used to live in East Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was fun. I was in a really interesting neighborhood off of Riverside, if you know where I'm talking about.
Vaguely. I'm in West Nashville, and I grew up here, right? Well, actually, I moved away from West Nashville. Now I'm kind of in, I don't know, far Charlotte Avenue.
Yeah, I know where that's
far
at.
down. They built a Walmart here. I don't know if you knew or not.
That's
but
new.
Yeah, it's not been there very long. But yeah, this where I'm at right now is kind of out in the woods because I'm outside the general proper city, and the city limit is just right down from here. There's cows and horses and all kinds of wildlife where I'm at.
I have a friend who lives up there in Lebanon, which is north of you, north by bed.
East.
Northeast. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There's a guy there who raised half-breed wolf/dogs on one side of his property and zebras on the other side. And it's like, if those two get together, nothing's good's going to happen here because they're going to kill each other. Or but Nashville is fun.
Wolf dogs, wow, and zebras. I never would have thought that.
The guy's
what a
been
combination!
That's a weird combination, yeah.
The guy's been doing it, from my understanding, for like the last 40 years, and no one's come to shut him down.
Why is our video not showing up?
So I don't know why, but Tennessee is its own thing, man. I love Nashville.
When it comes to bringing up animals, raising animals, they're very different.
Yeah.
Very different. Because, and like those things are not cash generators, so they're not regulated, not like cows or livestock.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean, zebras, I thought they were endangered or something. I don't know.
I've seen them every time I go over to my friend's house. I saw the little area he had. Well, it wasn't little, but I saw the area set up, and you see all these pups or mid-size hybrids on one side, and as you drive to the other side of the house, you'd see like 2 or 3 zebras, and I'm like, whatever makes you happy, Hoss, but damn.
Rick, can you hear us?
Hey. Can
How's
you
it
guys
going?
hear me? Good.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, that's
How you doing, man?
fine. You guys?
Awesome. I don't know if you heard the beginning. No, we're going to be talking about UFOs, aliens, and shadow people tonight. Hope you got us got a good story or two for us.
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Baron.
Hey,
Hello.
how's it going, Baron?
You know,
What
Baron's cool
did
guy.
you walk into? I've been talking about this for over a week now.
This
If you guys,
he's been talking about it a week here, but he is obsessed with everything regarding ancient aliens, conspiracy, all that stuff
that's me.
for pretty much longer than I've been alive, but all my life.
Yep. I've had some pretty weird experiences. How about how about I start with what did I say?
Clockwise?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll start with. So you want to? Do you have a? Well, you don't have a UFO sighting that isn't with me. So I'm going to go with the UFO sighting that we had a couple of years ago. We were in the backyard with a good friend of ours, just shooting the breeze, broad daylight. Everything was hunky dory, nothing unusual. And then off in the distance, I saw something weird, and it wasn't your typical like ball of light or disc or triangle. It was, I kid you not, it was a rectangle standing up like this, just floating way off in the distance, just like this giant. I mean, it had to be giant because it was so far away, I mean, to me, it looked like about this big, but a perfectly gray rectangle just sitting up there, not really in any clouds or anything, just hanging out, just hanging out. And I pointed it out to him and our friend, and we're like, he's like, friend said, "Oh, it's just clouds," and I'm like, "No, man, that is straight rectangle lines, the whole bit," and then it just faded away. Now it could have been a cloud, and my eyeballs be getting crappy and old, but we all saw it. It looked like a rectangle, and then it was gone. I got more, but I figured I'd get the ball rolling. So,
Cool
Connell, what you got
sighting.
for us?
That is a good one.
I've got a weirder one, but I'm going to save that for next time around because that was my first one, and it's really weird. But Connell, what do you got for us?
Technically, I don't have any UFOs. I've never been lucky enough or been in the area for anything like that to kick off. But when you say shadow things, like things that go bump in the night, right?
No. Shadow people are a phenomenon where you see like a black ghost, right, Nathan? It's just like a literally like a shadow, like in Dungeons and Dragons. Just a perfect silhouetted person, just a black person, ghostly image that usually moves real quick out of your way or behind you or disappears or something like that. But if you don't have one, we'll jump on down to Nathan because I know he's got to have something up his sleeve, right?
I got a story.
Okay.
I don't know if this qualifies what this qualifies under, but it's a weird story.
Okay.
This happened when my grandpa was a kid. This is my grandpa. This is one story from my grandpa. His uncle and his uncle best friend Paul and I think the guy's best friend Andrew were working at the docks. My grandpa was raised in County Cork, Ireland. I was raised in County Cork, Ireland. So, anyways, on the way home, they used to walk together back from the docks back to where they lived. Well, Andrew heard a noise, and he thought he heard music. And my grandpa, his uncle's like, "No, you're not hearing anything. Let's just go ahead and go home." Well, Andrew went and go investigate the noise he was hearing, and he never came back. So a couple days later, Andrew's wife calls the Bobbies and asks what's going on. And next thing you know, Andrew's missing. And Paul, my uncle's brother, was something like that, was questioned by the cops. I mean, this does not end well. I mean, it doesn't end well for a while. Anyways, and he was eventually arrested for murder because they could not find Andrew.
This sort of sound like the Travis Walton thing, man.
Right here, just let me finish. So about a year later, about 2 years later, and this goes into like 64 to 66, Andrew's missing. He shows up. He shows up on like a week before Christmas. Walks right back into small county Cork, and everyone's like, "Where the fuck have you been?" Excuse my language. Where have you been? He's like, "I just went to go hear where the music from, and next thing I know, I come back, and there's snow and everything else." They released my grandpa's brother. Yeah, it was a brother. Anyway, he released brother. The tricky thing is though, within a year, Andrew's clothes haven't changed. He never aged. No growth on the beard, no growth on the hair, no growth on the nails.
Where did this happen? I missed something. Where did it happen?
County Cork, Ireland. And
where's that at?
Ireland. In Ireland, like the island of Ireland.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
And my grandpa always said it was just the wee people taking the wee people ran off with him for a little bit. The fairies or whatever you want to call it.
I thought you said weed people. I could have swear I heard weed people.
I heard that too.
Yeah, as Baron says, the Fae. It could be an alien story. I don't know, but my grandpa always said it was the fairies.
I've always attributed the two stories as being similar, even pretty young. Even though I've got a bit of Irish in me as well, and I've heard stories, but I've always thought that sounds kind of similar because
Yeah, the guy never aged. I mean,
he was gone for 2 years.
He was gone for 2 years.
Whoa!
So
is this documented somewhere?
It was in the 60s. I don't know. I have to look into it. I could find out for you. I mean, I have to talk to him.
Can you imagine the repressed memories?
He doesn't. Yeah, no. Remember, he just went over the hill to look to see if he could hear where that music was coming from, and that's all he remembered. Because the police hounded him. The police hounded him for more information. Of course, my grandfather's whatever hounded him for information. His wife hounded him for information. All he said he ever remembered was walking over the hill to follow the music, and that was it. And
wow. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
It sounds like an excuse.
I've heard stories like that before. That
go.
This is intense. He was taken by the fairy. The wee folk. So that's the only one I mean, for alien or fae.
That's a hell of a story, man.
That is a very.
That would make a great movie. The scariest movie for me of all time is probably Fire in the Sky. That Jaws and Aliens.
I'm gonna say something. One time, the same friend that we saw the rectangle thing with, he showed us like a trailer, the scene of like where he's in the alien ship or something, and that scared me for 4 years.
That movie is terrifying.
Just that one scene, my biggest fear was being abducted by aliens.
When I was a kid in 1975, here in California, that story was pretty big news. The Travis Walton situation. That was, to this day, it's one of the most widely recognized UFO stories of all time. And I just yesterday I listened to Art Bell talking to Travis Walton for a good couple of hours, and I've watched him on other shows and other people my whole life because that story, I was like 8 years old when it happened, and I was seeing it on the regular news, Channel 4, 7, whatever, something like that. And it just stuck with me my whole life because, as I'll get into, that same year I had I should say I had my first sighting as a kid. But we're going to hand it over to Nathan. It's your turn, bud. Well, let's see what you got. You got some visual aids for us? All right.
No, that's the ID that I don't really want online.
Oh, okay. No worries.
My work ID.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ex-military, so I'm going to go with that one, right? I was sent to Fort Bliss. Do y'all know Fort Bliss? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. We were just adding Baron to the show.
You got somebody else coming on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the Fort Bliss. Okay. Fort Bliss, Germany, right? Now, I had always been into aliens. I followed Travis Walton a little while later. I was born in 75, so I had heard
Okay.
about it. And I had
Okay.
already read a bunch of ancient alien stuff by that time. So I was into it. And I was on police call, just got to Fort Bliss, like first 2 weeks. I was on police call picking up garbage in the housing areas. And it was me and like 5 other guys, and we had trash bags, and we're chit-chatting with each other. And Fort Bliss, right down the road from Area 51. So I was like, this is a good station for me. I love this. So I was chit-chatting with the dude on police call with me. I was like, hey, man, now this is an armor base at the time, right? Lots of tanks and artillery. He's artillery. This guy is artillery. I'm a missile guy. And I go, hey, man, do you think they have a crash recovery team here? And he goes, well, I think they have tow trucks when the tanks hit gas lines. I'm like, no. Do you think they pick up the flying saucers? Because Area 51 is right down the road. He goes, oh, man, I don't know about that. And we just continue on. About a week later, now keep in mind, I did not think anything of this. Okay. About a week later, I'm cleaning my own work area. I was a chaplain's assistant, right? So I ran the churchyard, and I was picking up trash and sweeping my sidewalks and whatever, right? Okay. And technically, I am command group. Command building was right across the street, but it was across the street. But on paper, I'm the same building, okay? I didn't think nothing of this one. I was cleaning, and I see a dude now we're all wearing BDU uniforms, right? Green woodland camo before we did the desert. And there's a dude standing on the front steps of the command building across the street, and he's standing like this with his not doing anything, just standing there. Black suit, white skin, short black hair. I couldn't see how tall he was because I was about 500 feet away, right across the street. I didn't think of anything about it. I go on. I know all the people that work. I'll ask him when I get to the barracks later. Nobody saw him. I'm like, how could nobody see him? I knew everybody that worked in that building. And it was right after lunch or right before lunch. It's been 25 years. It's hard to remember. And nobody saw him. I was like, wow, well, that's just kind of weird. Live my life, right? I get sent to Germany, Hanau, Germany. Hanau was one of the bases for where Hitler was, right? Hanau, the Eagle's Nest. And okay, so it's just, that's all, right? I get sent to Germany, and one day for a goof, I put in a transfer request form called a 4187. Now I'm a chaplain assistant, and at this time I have made some rank. I am not only cleaning, I am running my own office, right? As well as cleaning it. So I have my own office. It's me and the chaplain. And as a goof, I put in a transfer request form for me and him to Groom Lake facility. And I was like, ha, 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 yeah, this is funny. Here you go, sir. Let's go to Area 51. He goes, yeah, Alan, that's funny. Well, let's just throw this away. Don't give it to anybody. I'm like, no, I won't give it to anybody. A week later, I live across in the barracks. It's a big U-shaped building complex. Here's one side, my office. Here's the other, my barracks. And you can see my office from where I live. I go out the door. There are 2 guys in black suits out my door. One is exiting my door and one is standing there. Guess what he's doing? Just like that. Just like that. I was like, nope. And I ran down to my supply room, my arms room and supply room. I thought, okay, here's some context for you, right? A little while before that, my friend's wife had gotten the pay statement and written some dumb, I don't want nobody watching this stream. She had written some dumb stuff on a pay statement and threw it in the garbage, and the FBI showed up. And the CIA showed up. And it was like, everybody knew about it. Black SUVs, POS Ford, the whole 9 yards came straight in. Everybody knew about it. Okay, I am still in command group, right? This is command group. So I see that those 2 guys at my door. I'm like, nope. And I ran back in. I go down there and I call my boss on the phone. I'm like, sir, I'm on my way to work. Who are those 2 guys? Alan, you're late. Blah, 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 blah. Army. It's a big deal. 1 minute, right? And I'm like, yes, sir, I know. I'm on my way right there. Who are those 2 guys? Could you go look? We're kind of close. I mean, it's a one-on-one relationship, so we have to be nice to each other. He goes out. He comes back. I don't see anybody, Alan. There's nobody here. I'm like, okay, well, I'll be right there. Because I'm literally a 2-minute walk away. And command is less than across the street. It's across the parking lot. Big picture windows. I had a very, very uppity guy for my commander. Our battalion commander was like, everything has to be very picturesque. So he had giant windows put in. Well, everybody could see me walking across to my office, could see my office. And I was like, oh, all right, I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. Just let's go. I go over. Nobody saw a thing. I'm like, how? How does this happen? How does this happen? How does no one see these 2 guys in black, men in black, straight up men in black? Nobody saw them. This is the first story I'm going to tell y'all, right? Just the first one. And, oh, wow. But it's like, you know, when something happens and you're like, did I make that up? I've been going through that. And I'm like, did I make that up? Am I making excuses? Was I late and did I like just make something up so I didn't have to get in trouble? No. What?
Hallucinating or something?
Right. Well, was I imagining things? Was I plugging stuff in? Not hallucinating, but was I making stuff up? Because I played D&D, you know, I've got a pretty active imagination, but I never thought of that, you know. And oh, okay, well that's the first one, right? And that's what, I don't know. I'm not going to even say it kicked the ball rolling because so much has happened. There's a dude, he says his life is more paranormal than normal. That's me. I am in a haunted house. I am in Bigfoot country. I have done, oh gosh. Okay, next.
Well, hold on. Good evening, Jen.
Me out.
This is from Thurston. This guy's a great storyteller. I absolutely agree. I could tell little guy and I are here just like, man, this is getting good. This is getting good.
Yeah.
How about we let Rick come in and tell us his story, and then we'll because I know Baron's guy. I can tell by his face he's got stuff he wants to say. Just look at that look. Because you and him have a lot in common. I can tell already.
So
Rick, what do you got for us?
So I have a couple of stories. One is one that I did not see myself, but it's associated with a fellow that he was an older guy. This is about 20 years ago. Older guy. The guy was nobody that you would have thought would ever come up with stories or anything. He was as straight and narrow guy as you ever met him. And he was out in Lavington. This is in BC, British Columbia, Canada. And the town of Lavington, he was out in the back skirts there. And he saw something in the sky there, and the thing that he described was he seen what looked like two large, kind of like the tanks off of the rail cars, like the big cylinder tanks that you'd see on a rail car, up in the sky, attached by some sort of beam of energy between them, and it was floating and going right past where he was, without a sound at all. He swears that he was like, this guy doesn't drink or do drugs or anything, but that's what he's seen. It was reported in one of the like there was a accumulating website of kind of paranormal and UFO kind of stuff going on, and it would record all that kind of stuff in the area, on the internet, and it was actually put on one of those internet sites. But yeah, it was really weird hearing something like that from that guy. But my second story is one that I personally had, and out in Mount Thor, it's kind of really easy to. This is the same area, kind of BC, Vernon, in the Okanagan. It's a really warm area of Canada. Yeah, right now it'd be heading to be like between 35 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius there. If you convert that to Fahrenheit, that's pretty hot. But during the summers, we would go out into the mountain there, Mount Thor, and at the time there wasn't any floodlights coming from the city or anything. It was pretty dark, so you could see, all the stars and everything up in the sky real clearly. And one thing I noticed was there's a lot of these dots, and I thought they were like satellites way up in the sky. And this one satellite went shooting across, and then all of a sudden it just abrupt face and just turned the other way. And the speed that thing went at, and considering how high it was, up in the atmosphere, that thing was going at a like no, there's no, like, you would expect some sort of a light or something coming off of it because of the speed it was going at. Nothing. It was just whoop whoop, went off, and then off in the distance, gone. And to this day, it kind of just astounds me that there would be something, either man-made or what, I don't know. It was way too far to know what exactly it was. But
Sure.
yeah, it's really weird. So those are my two stories of things that have come across my path. I do have kind of like a ghost story too that happened actually south of me, in the Drayton Valley area. And it was this other guy that we knew, and he was just walking home. And this was his story, in the middle of the night, just plain old walking home. And as he's minding his own business, he looks up and he sees this apparition before him he said it was a woman, the shape of a woman. And he kind of looked at it and he was like, what the hell was it? And then he reached out towards it, and as soon as he touched it, it turned towards him and started to look like it was about to scream, and he just freaked right out. He was like, and he ran the other way, like just gone. He didn't. He looked behind him to see if it was following. It didn't follow him. So that was his story, and that's a few of the stories that I had there. So.
Well, let's let Baron. He's been patiently doing the Dr. Evil.
No, although I'm agreeing with Chat, I do love Art Bell. I think one of the greatest substitute hosts he had, though, was Ian Punnett, for the simple fact of how he would end the show. That and I've fully embraced his saying on this as well, because I have a face for radio and a voice for print, just like him. So I definitely do embrace that. But no, I have a few stories. My neighbor's house when I was growing up, got a few stories about that house. The first one, myself, my best friend growing up, and his mom, my buddy and his mom lived upstairs. His grandparents lived downstairs. So we were up there watching TV show or a movie or something like that. And all of a sudden, we hear his grandmother yell up at us, "Will you boys stop running up and down the goddamn stairs?" And we're all looking, and it's like, we're sitting here watching a movie or a show or something. And she goes, "Well, stop running up and down the stairs." And talking to her later, it sounded like someone was opening the door downstairs, which none of this we heard. And the TV wasn't super loud, so we could have heard it because the stairs were loud. And basically, that someone was opening the door, tromping up and down up the stairs, turn around, tromping back downstairs, opening the door again, and slamming it each time. And that was just that was one of them. The second one is one night I couldn't sleep, and where my bedroom was, I could look across the yard and see their kitchen, and the light would go on and off. And this kind of goes into the shadow people a little bit. It goes on and off, on and off, on and off, and then it stays on. And I see a silhouette of probably an 8 to 10 year old kid standing on their front porch, kind of silhouetted from the light coming through the door. And I even get goosebumps just thinking about this. But it is in what it was is that because my parents' house where we lived, their driveway is literally a 45-degree, and then it comes flat. So at the very bottom is another house. The first owner of the house next door originally lived in the house at the bottom of our driveway, and they moved after they had two young children. One was about 8, another was a baby, passed away mysteriously. And this is back in turn of the century. Because the town that I grew up in was kind of a mining town just outside of Peoria. And a lot of times they would, and just, anytime you get anything with mining, running water, anything else like that, you're going to have some weird shit going on. I'm just going to say that right now. But also, there was one of my buddy's cousins when she was a baby. They were upstairs laying down in his mom's room, get away from everybody. And there was a mist or something that was trying to take the baby out of his aunt's arms, like physically trying to remove the baby from them, which was kind of weird. And of course, his grandfather and his grandmother both passed away there. And really, I haven't been back around to see. They've done a full remodel of the house. They've sold it, et cetera, et cetera. But that house seemed to be like the center of a lot of paranormal things that went on. We'd be playing in, they had a small little bit of woods. We'd be playing down there. We'd hear sounds. I mean, it wasn't like a dense wood, but I mean, it would get at dark. It would get pretty shaded. You see just a little bit of the street lights poking through. So it is a lot of just weird things. The big thing with that house also is that there's a natural spring that runs out of the hill behind the house and runs down and around the side. So when I'm talking about like water running, things like that, that tends to lend a lot of energy to, you're looking at the shadow people, the paranormal, things like that. It's weird how things like that, are able to empower them in order to keep things going for them. And then I do actually have a UFO. That another night I was, same thing, couldn't sleep, and I didn't live that far from the airport, so we'd have planes flying overhead quite regularly. And it was in this one night there was, as I was looking through a open patch of where the trees were, literally a white light came down, did a full 360, stopped, and the only way I can explain it, it looked like someone took a rubber band, pulled it back, and snapped it, and it was gone. It was just a white, and it had the what people would think kind of like the Jetsons car type look, the bubble, with coming down and everything else like that. That's exactly what it looked like. Now, that being said, for me to be able to make out that much detail, this thing had to be huge. Just for the simple fact of where it was at and everything else, it was not close, but it wasn't like super far away either. So there are things that we don't necessarily we can't explain. And it was funny that Nathan there said that he was a chaplain's assistant, because I was also a chaplain's assistant. I never got any weird oogie boogie things from our church, but down around our barracks was across post. There's a few things, but I'll go ahead and stop there so some other people can throw some other stories and whatnot out. And
we'll come back to you, Baron.
Yeah, we'll come back.
I wanted everybody to get as many stories as you've got. We the night is young. We just started this. My first UFO sighting was 1975, and I don't know if it was before or after the Travis Walton thing. I think it was actually before. I was at my school baseball field one day with some other friends of mine, and we were just running around playing in the field, and I saw this thing off in the distance, and I didn't see it as well as somebody else, an older kid who went to a school that was further down the road from me, and this was in Orange County, California, and it was like kind of like a cigar shaped, typical, sort of roundish disc like UFO, except that I'm watching it, and then part of it detaches and flies off. And then the tail section does the same thing and goes the opposite direction. And then the main thing goes right up and straight up through the clouds. Later on that day, I was talking to my friend's older brother, and he said he saw it too, but he said he saw two other sections come apart from it, kind of like if it was like a cross shape, and the edges of it, all went in four different directions, and the main vehicle or whatever just went straight up. And I've never heard of anything else like that before. It's always, just one big thing, or a couple of lights, or a couple of orbs or discs or whatever, but never, like detaching from itself or leaving, like a mothership type of actual thing. And again, this was broad daylight, after school, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday, and I've never heard of anything else in any of the shows I've watched or books I've read or anything like that, of anything actually separating into sections.
That is kind of weird. Yeah, that is weird.
And to this day, I've read all kinds of books and watched every documentary, watched Ancient Aliens, all the UFO hunter shows on Sci-Fi and History, and even before that, had some bootleg tapes from individuals, and get them at garage sales and things like that. And I've never seen anything like that. Never heard of anything like that. Any of you guys?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I've seen videos on YouTube and whatnot of it, but I've never myself seen it.
Central Illinois is not exactly the hotbed of alien, encounters of the weird kind. We don't have the, what was it, We don't make marshmallow demon devil towers here.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Do you got a story for us, Toronto?
Yeah. I think there's been enough years in between where I might not get arrested. Well, I'm living in Peoria. I'm in the Peoria area, Illinois, and there is this asylum that's been shut down for many years. Many moons have this asylum, and it has the worst horror haunted house stories ever. I mean, these are legendary, and there's certain times of the year where the line between our plane of existence and, say, the spiritual world, or whatever words you want to use, I believe is thinner than others. Ley lines are more active around these time of year, stuff like that. And this is not Halloween. This is not Friday the 13th. None of the normal spook days. This is just mid-October. I mean, this is like October 15th. Me and my buddies, I'm like 17 years old, kind of got my drunk going on because I'm an idiot. And my friend's like, let's go to the asylum. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm highly superstitious. And I'm like, no, but I don't want my friends to know that. I'm the guy who turns off a movie, a scary movie at 2:50, so I don't approach the witching hour. I don't cross into that, that time of night where things I don't do. I mean, I have a tattoo of the Romanian evil eye on my shoulder just because, extra protection. So, with that being said, they want to go to this haunted house. This is before I even knew how bad this asylum was. And Baron knows exactly where I'm talking about.
Yeah, because it's literally about 3 miles from where I grew up.
Yeah. So they walk in, and I've been into abandoned places before. It's not, watch where you step. Don't put your hands on anything. It's like working in a factory. If you don't stick your finger in it, don't stick your in it, theory. So I'm being careful. And next thing I know, they come busting, running, go, 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 go. And I'm like, what? I feel a wave of air hit right between my ears with the word, get out. And I was gone. I mean, I was just gone. And I have about 2 weeks from that time, that shadow people you were talking about, I always thought I saw something in the corner of my eye.
Oh, we'll get to those.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
saying it was like cause and effect is where I'm going.
Gotcha.
It was, ever since I did this, there for like a while until like November or something, I saw like something in the corner of my eye, like something followed me out of the asylum.
So I take it you didn't go down into the tunnels underneath?
I might be a lot of things, but I'm not stupid.
Oh, I was. Me and a bunch of my friends actually went into there was a tunnel system that went from there to a local park. It's how they used to transport goods in and bodies out. And it was, and there are chains that are hanging down there where they would actually, chain up people.
Yeah.
And we went down there. There was no breeze, no nothing else. And we got that same gust of wind, but that gust of wind also made the chains that were hanging there start swaying and jingling and everything else. And we went, basically, if it had been prevalent at the time, I would have said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and that's literally what we did, and we rolled out. But yeah, that was that kind of rolled off the same, since it was the same place there.
I mean, this place has been on TV shows as one of the most haunted places in America.
Not anymore.
They tore it down a couple years ago, didn't they?
Yep. Although there is a few others, because on the lands you will see a apparition of a gentleman reading a book under a tree.
Oh,
There are also Civil War veterans that are buried in about 3 or 4 different spots. I happen to know where those are at because I'm involved with some of the veterans organizations, and we would go out and put flags out for them and whatnot. So yeah,
it was the Bartonville, Illinois Asylum. I don't remember the name of it. It was the Zellers.
The old, yeah, it was run by Zeller, but it was the old Illinois State Hospital is what it was called.
Yeah. There was another question. October by Shadow. Boomer
He boomered
alert.
again. All right, Nathan, you said you had a couple of things. You're muted. You said you had a couple more. We're just kind of keeping it rolling since Shadow is kind of
Let's
popped
see.
out.
There's a couple. I mean, speaking of the Bartonville place, I always heard there was a few bodies still left in the library that flooded out that no one has gone back to. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know how things are. People talk.
Try to say something, Nathan, and I'll tell you if you can hear you or not. Nope, can't hear you. Okay. You have to wait for Shadow to come back in to bring you back in, though.
Speaking of Shadow.
The Shadow.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, Shadow.
Apparently hitting the unmute button sends you out, so don't do that.
Well, we're on a tablet, so it's all the buttons are really close, and if you're not perfect. So, Nathan, what do you got for us?
Nathan is going to have to bounce out and bounce back in. He has apparently muted himself somehow, and we're hoping that fixes the problem.
Okay.
Well, I guess
you can take back hosting.
Oh man, could you imagine a paintball game in a haunted asylum? Oh my!
that's cool.
Nope.
Well, I guess I'll tell.
Well, it's Rick's turn.
Oh wait, we're going.
Yeah, clockwise.
Well, wait, hold on. We haven't heard from him yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with the one that I believe actually happened the least, which is one time. This was before I was like really scared of aliens, which is really my only alien story. I was like 3 to 4 years old, and my mom had just woken me up to go to my aunt's house because we were supposed to get there early. So we went to sleep, and she woke me up and said, "Hey, go in the car." So we went to the car, but she went to go get something, and I was sitting in the car alone at like 5 a.m. or something, and I'm sitting in the car just thinking, and I look out the window and I see what I can only describe as an alien looking directly at me through the window. It was like a dark burgundy-ish color, but I couldn't really tell through the lighting and the fact that we were in a dark garage at night, and the light was shining down on it, and the few parts that were lit were like a dark red. Now, I don't think this actually happened, but it was the first time that I ever actually saw anything, because I was young, I was just waking up, I was probably really tired, so it was probably just a hallucination or something, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta get, when you think about when you just wake up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have had like when I was younger, probably like 13 or so. I recall hearing just waking up in the morning and hearing a bang, bang, bang up against the back of my wall, because my bed kind of, my headboard sat up against the wall. And I'm like, woke up and I looked around, and I actually got out of my bed and looked down the hall to see if anybody was around. There was nobody there. But, when you wake up, that's kind of a really weird kind of a mind space you can be in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you never know. Could be just
Yeah,
your
then-
brain, playing tricks on you.
Yeah. Then the one other thing that's I guess the only ghost-ish story that I have, there isn't really a ghost story was, and again, I'm not quite sure if this really happened. I'm getting these out of the way so I can get the stuff that actually is kind of weird for me. And these are the ones that are really into the shadow people. And I was riding my bike home from school with my dad, and we were riding back. We were almost home. We're riding, and I see this what looks like a really, yeah, I can only describe it as a white dog. I couldn't tell what it was, but it was like this small white animal ran across the street in like once the entire street crossed it in a second and a half, maybe. I see it run across the street, come out of the bush, off the street into one of the neighbors' yards, into their backyard. He didn't see anything. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yep.
It's
And
not
I kind of like swerved to not hit it. And I asked him, like, did you see that? And he didn't see anything. This was a couple years ago, I think maybe 4 years ago or something. Or 4 or 5, maybe. No, yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. And we're just going down the street. This thing just speeds across the street. He doesn't see it. I try to avoid it. And I've actually seen other things similar to them other times where I see something white zoom across a street that clearly is not a car. But one time it was kind of obscured, and the other time, I mean, that time I still don't know what it could have been. It was probably, I don't know, I would think it's just a small animal, but I mean, even the fastest I've ever seen my dog run, I couldn't make that.
It was a rabbit?
It did not move like a rabbit.
Yeah, I heard an interesting chupacabra story the other day, but maybe for another night.
Yeah, and the weird thing is it didn't seem to move like... It seemed like it just glided across the street incredibly quickly. It wasn't running. Like, it wasn't a rabbit, and it wasn't a rabbit, it wasn't any of those birds that I've seen. It wasn't any dog or cat, quail, yeah. It's just a white thing glides across the street in a second, and then it's gone. But
Like it was on a rail?
Yeah, kind of. Like, it came out of the bush, and by the time I got to the point where I could see the neighbor's yard, it seemed like it just went through the fence.
That's interesting.
I mean, you were there, but you didn't see it.
No, I didn't. And we ride our bikes, during the school year every day, and we've seen all kinds of stuff from coyote to snakes and rabbits and quail and roadrunner, but then lizards.
Yeah.
So who's next?
Oh, I'll say Nathan if he's able to communicate with the rest of us.
Can you hear
Well, if
us?
everybody can hear me, yeah, I'm able to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I was hitting mute, so I didn't interrupt you with typing in the chat room because, listen, it's loud.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I hit mute. So I've run into that before. I type loud. I learned on a mechanical. Okay. I don't know what this is, right? Mandela effect, alternate reality, whatever. But this was a big one. I used to live in Carthage, Tennessee. I lived outside of Carthage, and Carthage was the closest city. And I worked at this hospital, Smith County Memorial. It's gone now, but I was nighttime registration. And I want this to be a hospital ghost story, but it isn't. This is something else. I had a set schedule every day, the same schedule every day. I would get home 15 minutes after I got out of work. One day, I decided I want to cook food when I get home. So I stopped at the little grocery store on the way. It took me like 5 minutes to go in there, and when nobody there. I got off at 5 o'clock in the morning. I go in, I get my stuff, I go home. And my mom was up. This was many years ago. You just get out of the army and whatever. But my mom was up. She goes, "Hey, Nathan, did you get here and go and come back? Because I thought I heard your car." I'm like, no. Look, groceries. I went and got food. I'm cooking this morning. Okay, whatever. About a week later. A little over a week later, I go in. I get off work. I do the same thing. I'm like, I want to cook this morning. So I do the same thing. I stop and get something to cook. I get home. Everybody's awake. My mom, my stepdad, the dogs are running around. You're in the country. You got dogs, right? Or cats.
Yeah.
But the dogs are running around. And they're like, "Oh, my God, what did you do?" I'm like, food. That's what I did. She's like, "We heard you drive down the road. It's out in the country, so the gravel is loud. We heard you drive down the road, pull up your car, your squeaky door on your Cavalier, and then nothing. And then here you are doing it exactly again." I'm like, I don't know. But that has been, I'm wondering if it's still there. They call that a psychic imprint or a psychic impression. I wonder if that's still happening because the house is still there. I'm just wondering. And this happened again. I was, okay. Lately, about 4 years ago, I was working as a stock manager at Dollar General. And I had, they switched my day off with one of the other workers. They had something to do. So I'm like, okay. So I was off that day. Well, when I was off, I didn't leave the house that day because stock manager at Dollar General, you're humping it. You're tossing boxes, stocking, moving, front, back, in, out all day long. So I was so beat. I was watching YouTube all day long. And I go in the next day and my assistant manager says, "Hey, Nathan, why didn't you say hi yesterday?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Yeah, you were here. You stopped in your parking spot and I went out and I saw you. So I figured, well, he's just sitting in his car for a few minutes, listening to the radio, smoking, whatever. He's probably going to buy cat food. He'll be in." Didn't never come in. She goes out a second time, sees me again, sitting in my little red car, the same car I have now. And it's busy. So she goes back in. Third time I'm gone. And she told me that. I'm like, I have no idea. I never left the house that day. I was so tired. So that's the second time the same thing has happened. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's alternate reality because, see, in both times, I would have been there had something not happened, right? So maybe it's time hiccuping or wibbly wobbly or something. But that's something that happened. And everybody remembers these things happening. Everybody. I don't because I wasn't there both times. And it was so trippy. Okay, that's this one. There are more. Go ahead. I yield the floor.
Rick, Baron, you guys got something for us?
Well, if you hear weird things coming out, since we're doing this, I have this app on my phone called Perilous, and it will generate things. I know it's kind of hard to see the last thing. Well, you said I have a whole bunch more, and as soon as you said that, it said 10.
Said what?
So, which was kind of, it said 10, which means that it was almost like it was telling me that you had 10 more things that had happened. Now it said
well, I can definitely drum up 10 from memory. If it wants 10, I will give 10.
Because what this is actually, it's very similar to like what paranormal investigators use, where they like the Ovilus
Ghost boxes.
Well, no, it's slightly different.
Or
This
generator.
has a dictionary that any spirit or energies can kick into it, and it will generate out a word. So and
Right,
while
you
we're
said
talking,
obelisk. Okay.
Yeah, difficult. Yeah, it's difficult for me to say. I know it's kind of hard to see because my camera tends to like to focus and then it gets all blurry. But yeah,
I see it.
Stand up.
But yeah, it really, so I apologize. I'll try to keep myself muted if I'm not going to be on that, just for the simple fact of just so that doesn't cut in. I just thought it'd be kind of an interesting little experiment to run while we were talking about things like this, because I also find that when you're talking about things like this and whatnot, that your emotions will push out, and the feelings that you get will be around. There is a secondary app that I do use, and it's called
What is your
GhostTube.
box saying?
I got another one, and it just says weird things. I don't know if it'll actually come up or not, but is there anybody there? Does anybody want to talk to us tonight?
I want to know the random things it says.
It just makes some deep grunts right now. Is there someone who wants to say something to somebody here? You're all over the internet. Tens of people can hear you.
I bet you all of us would shit ourselves. Yes. Like, yep, I quit.
Yeah.
You guys going to be quiet now? You were really talkative earlier. I don't know if you can hear that stuff coming through or not.
Plead with us?
Are you gonna speak to us?
Did anybody watch what was that TV show back in the 2000s, Ghost Hunter?
All right, I'll turn you off.
What show?
Ghost Hunter.
Ghost Hunters?
My kids watch that a lot.
The plumbers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monster Hunt or
Ghost Hunters. There's Ghost Hunters.
International.
Yeah. I know some of those places that they went to in the international version of it. And those places are on a scale of fucked up. They're up there.
See, Sundays are typically my what I call scary Sundays, because I'll watch what is it? Twin Paranormal, which if you guys have not seen them, I love them because they come at it the correct way. They don't go in to try to they come in just asking questions. They don't come in trying to antagonize and things like that. But yeah, Nana. It just said Nana.
Oh, hold on a sec, guys. I'm still listening on my phone, but I gotta take a DM break.
Okay. But the other one, and it's slightly a little bit more on the comedic side, but I do watch Sam and Colby. The other one is the Overnight Crew. Those guys have got the last ones that they've done recently. They actually did a investigation at the museum of psychics.
Zach Bagans?
No, well they did Zach Bagans, but they also did the
Ripley's?
ones that did the original. I've got it. I've got to look now because it's gonna bug me. His words are hard at night.
Well, I mean Tennessee.
Warren
Tennessee-
Museum, the Warren Museum. So where Annabelle actually is.
Oh God.
Yeah, and they
Oh, in
actually
Florida.
saw the
In Florida?
No, it's in New York. But they actually moved Annabelle from the original case to a temporary case they moved her from the travel case back into the original case because they had to get it they had to do some repairs, and then they have finished the repairs and all that, and it was very interesting to see the way that they did it is one guy had gloves that were soaked in holy water to actually touch the doll to move it, and it's like done, the minimal time, everything else. The Warren Museum though is just like pure concentrated everything evil you can think of. And they got some good stuff off there. There's actually a couple of Canadian guys that I watch. I've got to catch up on them, but they're the Paranormies. They're actually fairly decent too. And one of them has had an attachment on him for quite some time, and I like how they've gone through explaining how they're going to they're working on removing the attached. Yes, as in Ed Warren. Yeah, they actually they're the only ones ever granted, with the exception of the on staff there. To be able to do a paranormal investigation within the Warren Museum, which was it was like a 3-parter. The last part, God bless them, I couldn't watch because they did it with a VHS and there was so much static on the background that I just like I can't do it. So I was like, no.
You use what you got when you got it.
Yeah, well, they wanted to do it very similar to how Ed used to do it, and that was the whole thing, to see if they could catch anything the way that Ed did it. But I tend to get into a lot of these. The thing is that typically the ones that I watch are the ones that approach it more respectfully. The ones that are truly like on my top list to watch is the Twin Paranormal, because if there are actually ones to actually like spirits who want to actually go, they will forge a exit for them, basically tell them they can follow them out of the building when they reach the entrance to the building. It's a white light. They can step through it if they wish. They don't try to force them out or anything else like that. There's been a few things I've read where some of the places they were, that the activity actually has decreased after they were there and offer the exit. So I mean, that is that's kind of cool. And a lot of them do some of them are a little goofy. The overnight crew can jack around a little bit, but they're still fun. But yeah, but when it comes down to actually doing the investigation, they're very serious about it and very respectful on how they do a lot of things, which truthfully, if you look at a lot of like ghost hunters, Zach Bagan goes in and on his, if you look, he goes in trying to fight. He goes in trying to provoke to get the response. And a lot of people used to conduct themselves this way, whereas the way that the ones that I watch, they do conduct themselves as more of, we are not here to hurt you. You cannot hurt us. We are protected, etc. And boom. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I watch, like usually on Sundays. just because it's my spooky Sunday, as I like to call it. But the actual stories and whatnot. I mean, I don't know if you heard what it just said, but it said malevolent. Which is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alrighty.
Especially since what I was getting ready to talk about. So yeah, my house that I'm currently in does have some sort of entity in it. I have seen it out of the corner of my eye, glimpses of shadows. We've basically come to a sort of an agreement of, because they especially it's upstairs in our bedroom. When the dogs used to be up there before my wife had to do her dialysis and everything else, the dogs would just stand and bark into the ante room. And it was funny because I would tell the spirits to, leave the dogs alone. They're not hurting you. Stop antagonizing them. As soon as I say that, it calms right down. Which is just funny. So but we have sort of a loose agreement, of the don't screw with us, we're not going to screw with you. No, it was a shadow figure.
I got similar where I live.
Well, that's a hell of a drive for Shadow to get to Baron's place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're all jacked up tonight.
It's funny that me and Baron kind of live in the same area off and on. I mean, I moved to Nashville for a while, but I had a reason why I bring that up is I was dating somebody who used to work at a adult club in downtown Peoria, and it was like one of the oldest buildings on said block, and there's a there's old tunnels down underneath these buildings because Peoria had a lot of speakeasy bars during the Prohibition. The old saying, if it doesn't play in Peoria, it won't play anywhere. Peoria was a hotbed there for a while for musicians, actors, just everything. We made some of the best whiskey in America at one point here in Peoria, Illinois. So one of these buildings used to be the world famous Big Al's strip club. I don't know why it's world famous because I've never known anybody else to know where it was. That's neither here nor there. I had a female girlfriend who used to work there. She said if you go into the back room every once in a while, you'd hear things. Things shuffling around that shouldn't be shuffling around because it's an old-ass building, and she thought it was haunted. Well, Big Al's decided that it no longer wanted to stay in that building after Al died, and they moved down the road by the bus station, but that's neither here nor there. And they remodeled. What did it say?
Rosalind.
Yeah. They remodeled the building to, it's now a hotel. So I keep been wanting to go there and ask them if they've had any spook stories come out of from any of the people that stay there.
Well, I used to work in a club just above Al's.
Gilligan's?
Well, Millennium and the first night when it flipped back over to Gilligan's. But yeah, I've got a few stories from there, but I'll hold on to those.
Rick, you got something for us?
No, actually, I'm all out of stories other than something more of a and kind of an interesting thing, which kind of to your son, something that happened to me when I woke up one morning. But it took me a long time to kind of have an idea of what it was. But to put the story in perspective, I woke up. I thought, oh, what am I going to do today? And all of a sudden, I look up, and suddenly everything started sliding across as if it was panes of glass. Right, like everything started coming apart. And then I was just like, wow. And then suddenly it was just bright light. And then all of a sudden, just felt like my head just started expanding. and it was like suddenly I could see everything around me in the dark. Like it was kind of like I was up in space. It was like bright, but it was dark, and it was what did that say?
No, I stopped it. I'm sorry,
Okay.
here.
And it was just like everything had separated apart in front of me, and it just felt like I could feel like these twines of energy coming in from everywhere, all over like the universe. It was just like super empowering, and I felt like suddenly there was, I wanted to come back into my head again, and then I started to squish everything back into my head, and then I kind of came to on the bed. I was like, felt like everything that I had absorbed from all these tendrils out to everywhere was just gone. It just spewed out of my head. It was just a really weird experience. And for the longest time, I was like, I felt very kind of agnostic, like I was like, people would talk to me about religion and stuff like that. And I would be like, from my experience, I kind of felt very neutral about it. It was really weird. Like, I kind of felt like, I didn't believe in God in the way that a lot of people did for a long time. And then it was very strange at a TED. Have you guys ever watched TED Talks?
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever seen the one about Jill Bolt Taylor? A gal named Jill Bolt Taylor. She talks. She's a brain scientist. She does. I guess she operates on brains. And then she had her talk on there, which was explained
neurologist.
her going through a stroke, and she was observing it from inside of her head, of course, and thinking, as a neurologist. And what she described was pretty much exactly kind of what I felt, kind of like that separating of like everything from what your brain holds together, in one side of your head, to kind of turn all the signals that you see from your eyes into what you relate to as three-dimensional objects, and the other side, which is kind of like an emotional side. And I kind of like thought about, wow, maybe that's what happened to me. Maybe I had a stroke when I was young, but managed to come out of it like real fast. So, that was the only weird thing that I've ever had before. And even though it had a profound, effect throughout a good portion of my life until I finally seen that video and realized, hey, somebody else had this kind of experience too, and kind of explained, exactly what was happening. So it was kind of really like, it was like an aha moment. And I've always remembered that video, Jill Bolt Taylor, for because I just reflect on that and think, wow, that could explain all of that. So
have you ever heard of the Shiva helmet or the God helmet?
I have not.
I've heard that term before. I've heard the term. I don't know what it was.
Okay, it's did you have some kind of a trauma that you know of to bring that on?
For me, no. I was pretty chill at that time. Yeah.
You had just woken up.
Yeah, I just woke up and I was like thinking about what was I going to do today? I didn't have really much of a care. Like I was living at a girlfriend's place, just an apartment kind of idea. And I had a job and everything, but I was off work at the time, I recall. And just not, it was my days off. So, and yeah, just so happened, just out of the blue, just everything, just, and it was just the weirdest sensation. Yeah.
What you're describing sounds like what people describe when they use a God helmet or Shiva helmet. I don't have it right in front of me, but what it is it's tuned electromagnets in either a hat or helmet or a band in certain spots, and you know how EKGs work to read the brain.
Yeah.
Well, this, from the way they describe it, you know what a modem does, right? It takes one thing, modulate, demodulate back and forth. This thing acts like a modem to go, and you're basically strapped into, and you're an antenna, right?
Mark.
These things break through, because we got magnetic shielding here. These things break through the magnetic shielding and link you to whatever's out there. But it's quite random. And well, that's what the God helmet, Shiva helmet does. Because I've had an experience like that. I'll leave it. I'll go on. I'm not trying to upstage anybody.
Cool. No. You go on about your experience, because I'm very interested.
It also sounds like it could have possibly been you, especially with just waking up. It could have also been that you were not quite in your body. You may have been having a slightly out of body experience where you were phased out just a little bit.
Well, I'm wondering if it was maybe somehow, the one side of my brain just decided to stop. Maybe it was a seizure. I don't know. Maybe it was something that I've never had it happen again. That's the whole astounding thing. And I continued on for my day as if nothing happened, but I knew something happened, but it was like it wasn't affecting me, like physically or anything from then. I was more like I kept it in my head. I didn't tell anybody about it for such a long time because it was just until I maybe told two people in my lifetime until I finally seen that video on YouTube. 20 some odd years later, and I'm just like, wow, maybe that's what happened to me. Something just maybe it was a sudden blockage that caused part of the brain to just not, work, because I had just gotten up. Like, maybe the act of me sitting up, because it just felt like eternity when I was in there. It was just like, boom, eternity. And I couldn't tell how long I was out there. And then all of a sudden, it just sucked itself back into my head. And I was, it was a strange feeling when everything went back to my head. It just felt like I was losing all this information that I had suddenly absorbed, and I just couldn't contain it anymore. And suddenly it was like, oh, this unit that I'm using for thinking just can't think of these terms anymore. And it was just like, yeah, I lost a good portion of my experience that way. All I can do is relate it in the terms that I can express right now. When at the time it was like, whoa, it's the most, it was like omnipotence, it was just crazy.
Yeah, I agree with Thurston. I think you actually slid into the astral plane. You had a slight out of body experience.
Sure. Something happened.
I just want to say really quick, I want to send out a happy birthday to one George Jetson. He was born on the 31st of July, 2022. So happy birthday, George Jetson from the Jetsons.
I'll have to let Tankar know because it's his 55th birthday today. Hope you guys go over and check out his show. Wish him a happy birthday. He's a great friend of ours for quite some time, and he's one of the guys that really got us into this whole YouTube, not making videos, but reaching out to people and making friends. And I want to thank all you guys out here for making this show really, really interesting. We've got 16 eyeballs watching us right now, and that really makes us feel good here. We're just a little channel, but we got some great brains. Sharing some things that you might not share with just anybody. And I really appreciate this. It was a friend of mine that was supposed to show up tonight. Those of you who've been here before, my friend Kevin, who can come in. We can see his ugly mug, but we can't hear a word because he's trying to get his technology. So I'm going to save that story for later if he shows up. But that's like the last UFO story I have. But I do have like one or two like actual alien kind of stories, and maybe we can move on into that so we can hit all three, three subjects. If anybody's ever had a weird like alien kind of encounter, no, okay, I'll take this one away. I told it to my son earlier, and I've told it to him before. I was probably like 11 or 12 years old, and I was really sick, and had absolutely crazy fever, and to the point that I've probably never had a fever like this since then. I was just, I had a bunk bed. My brother was, the bottom bunk. I had the top bunk, and I was just, just trying to just deal with it, just dizzy and all kinds of stuff. And I got this overwhelming sense that there was a UFO just landed on the other side of my backyard, which was an empty lot, and beyond that was a Pup and Taco. I don't know if anybody ever remembers the restaurant Pup and Taco. Oh man, I miss that place every day. I think it either turned into Wiener Schnitzel or Taco Bell or something, but it was, there's like one or two still left after 40 years. But I'm getting off topic. And I just knew that a UFO landed on the other side of my backyard. And I'm like, I climbed down from my bunk bed, went to the window, opened up the window, looked into my backyard. It was dark as heck, and this head popped up from the other side of the fence. And I swear to God, even though it was dark, that I saw the creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay? Wow. That's just that. I just knew it was there. I looked, and there it was, popped its head up, and then it ducked back down, and there was a flash of light from behind it or whatever, and that was it. And I was like so scared. I ran back up into my bed, grabbed the covers, and just tried to forget about it.
Here it was just the alien thought you were the food place, and he was just trying to get you to take his order.
I don't know, man. You're making me think of they had this thing. They had this thing on the menu, man. I don't know if you guys have ever had a taco on a bun. You ever heard of it?
No. I mean,
okay. Imagine the cheapest taco, right? It's hamburger, lettuce, and cheese, right? But on a hamburger bun instead of in a taco. And my school lunches used to make them too. But I kid you not, it was fantastic. But I've never seen them since 6th grade. And I just got this craving for one right now. And I mean, it's literally nothing but, taco meat, hamburger, lettuce, and cheese on a hamburger bun. But man, it was weird. It was a weird experience. And thanks, Grim. By the way, my good
Sounds
friend
like
Grim
the aliens love them too.
Apparently, Pup and Taco was the place, man. I had some fun times there, but I wanted to make sure I said howdy to our really, really good friend Grim. Most of you guys actually know him, and he actually helped introduce me to a lot of people here on the interwebs. And I just want to make sure, because last time I didn't have my son here helping me with the chat, and I wanted to make sure that I said hi to him. Everybody, say hi to Grim. He's a great guy. Now the little guy is back. Apparently, he had to get his hat on.
No, this is technically my mom's hat. It was right there in the back.
Oh, okay.
Which I, for some reason, didn't go through first.
Okay, Mittens, have a seat.
Now,
so, anybody want to follow that one up? Anybody?
I kind of have a weird story. I have no idea what it was, but when I was younger, me and my grandpa used to go camping a lot in Germany. And right around the dark forest area, I can't think of the name, nor can I pronounce the area, because my German sucks, and I'm not going to do that to myself or anybody else.
Do you know how it's spelled?
No.
Dusseldorf, Essen.
Dusseldorf sounds about right. I don't know, but it was. I mean, my grandpa told me, "I'm going to take you to the place where a lot of the Grimm's fairy tale stories were based out of." And
So that sounds like the place I was born in Virlstadt, Germany. So it's the same kind of area. They had a lot of legends and stuff like that, and they would perform plays and stuff like that about the Grimm's fairy tales back in the 60s as well. But go on.
But my grandpa and me would we did our we had a little campfire. We did the weenies and all that. What you do camping. Then later on that night, it was just me and him. And he'd sleep next to me, and it's one of those old-fashioned bell, tents. There was nothing fancy about it. But it was, like I said, it was just me and him. And something came up to the tent, and it wasn't bears. It wasn't – the shape of it was wrong. And I know it wasn't the American Bigfoot or the Wendigo, because these are all American problems, not Germany problems. But I don't know. It tore the hell out of the camp. And the thing had to be 6 foot something because of the claw marks and everything. My grandpa always said it was a bear, but to me, it always had more of it didn't feel like a bear, if that makes any sense. And so that was soon after that, my grandma was like, maybe it was the Krampus. The Krampus was coming early.
Krampus.
And the Krampus. Well, she pronounced it the Krampus.
Okay.
And so I don't know, those woods, those there's something special about those woods. I don't werewolf, yeah, a Lugaroo with my luck. It seems like most of my encounters with the weird have always been more on the supernatural side of things more than I've had some apparent ghost issues, but I've never seen an alien. I've never seen a UFO. I've never seen, that stuff. It's always been the other side of the road that seems I bump into a lot. And I know that's not exactly the topic you want to talk about, Shadow, so I'm sorry.
No, but maybe it's like you said, it's an Irish thing with your own upbringing. A lot of these ideas and these instances have possible connections or correlations to one another. That because of different upbringing issues with yourself or other people, that they related to the supernatural as opposed to the sciencey type explanation. I said at the beginning of the show, I don't have answers. I just have things that have happened. And I have one story. It's a ghost story. I might get to it tonight, but we might do a ghost episode later. But I don't believe in a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. I mean, I don't have an explanation. I don't have a specific mindset belief of what the answer is. I just know when these things happen, we could find out it's extra dimensional or it's aliens or it's demons. There's very few ways to find out the answers to these questions, but it's really nice to have people to talk about it with and to share these experiences so we don't think we're crazy, because I know I'm a little crazy, yeah. but how crazy is crazy,
We all need the big hair.
I see. I tried.
Hey, I've been wanting to say this all night, Rick. You are the freaking spitting image of one of my best friends from a long time ago. Are there any Swansons in your family?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Okay, just
we're all pure German all the way. My name interpreted in German is pumpkin.
Oh, okay. Hey, don't feel bad. Mine's not too far off from that, but I'm keeping that a secret just because it's embarrassing as hell.
There's a reason that our name was changed.
Yeah. When we first came to this country, not really all that long ago, to be honest, less than 100 years. So Anybody else got something they want to share?
Was there a rocket scientist in your family from back in the day there, Shadow?
Yeah, kind of. Probably, yeah.
I said this before. He is extremely worried that his family was like full on Nazi politicians in Germany.
Yeah,
Nazi
my old man had a lot of inside information, and mentioned the name
We
Paperclip.
might be related. We might be related then.
Well, there's a chance I'm actually related to Jade. I'm going to find out about that tomorrow. But yeah, my old man mentioned the phrase paperclip on more than one occasion.
Yeah,
but,
Operation Paperclip. I got done reading a book about that not that long ago. That was some sketchy shit.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks, I appreciate it, buddy.
That was some very sketchy shit.
Right, let's let the little guy, he's got a story he wants to tell.
All right, so first, while you guys were talking, I drew these two images.
If you can't see them very well, I'll post them on Discord in the Shadow and Sun location. Okay, cool. Yeah.
First, there's this one.
Hold it so they can see it above them.
Okay.
And then there's this.
That's the creature running across the street?
Yep.
I wish I could draw. I mean, I could write my name in the snow with my. Never mind. But that's about as far as that goes.
We'll go back to the first one. Tell us the story about that one.
That was the alien creature that I don't believe actually happened.
Okay.
I was sitting in the car and I saw this guy walk right up to me, stare at me, and just walk away. Then my mom came in and then drove to my house. So these are my. I remember because the Shadow People is in the title, so I guess I'll talk about my two experience with that. First off, I'm gonna let me just put that back. I'm gonna say I am convinced that there is a demon in our house. I'm completely convinced that there's a demon living in this house. Whether it has anything to do with either of these two things, not sure. But
okay,
I'll start with the first one.
Well, we'll just do one at a time. We got all night.
I'll start with what I think is probably what I'm least certain about of the two. So, one time, again, I was walking over to my bike. We were about to ride over to school. So I'd exited out through the front door for some reason. And I was walking, and my ears start ringing, and the entire right side of my vision just gets enveloped in complete darkness. And as it slowly retracts, I see a man with a short hat in complete darkness, just a complete black outline of a man standing right next to me before disappearing. And I run over to my desk and I'm like, yo, did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Didn't see a thing. But you remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this might have been prior. Yes, this was prior to that. But that time I might have just, I don't know what it was, but it just felt too weird for me to fully believe it. But one time I was in this very room. This used to be where I slept. But I was leaving this room. It was completely dark. And I walked out to the stairs. And behind the railing, I saw the same person standing there. They were just in the middle of it. The very center of my vision was this man in a hat with a weird jacket on, standing there. And I ran back in the room and hid for a few seconds. And when I looked back out, he was gone.
That's a shadow person.
But I mean, all the things you've said is like they're in the corner of your vision and they try to hide.
Well,
but
they're not always in the corner. Sometimes you see them straight on, head on. But the overwhelming thing is that they're just black. They're just like cut out of black construction paper. Sometimes you can kind of see through them. Sometimes they're ghostly. Sometimes they're like arms and features aren't fully formed. Right, Nathan?
Right. I've seen one time. It was a fleeting, tiny little thing. It wasn't scary or nothing. but it's exactly what you say.
Yeah, and because originally I thought it was just my shadow that I saw, but I wasn't wearing any hats first of all. But the room was dark, and he was behind the railing. He was standing behind the railing, like just this extremely tall figure, where he was just floating there, sitting behind it. I only saw him for, well, I didn't only see him, but I saw him for like 4, 5-ish seconds before running back in here. And it was like 2 or something years later that I saw presumably the same guy just standing right next to me. And I also drew 2 pictures of each of those. Yeah. This being the first one. And then this one.
It's pretty good, bud.
Thank you. But that's what I think.
So this is
Baron,
why
you got anything?
channel's called Shadow and Sun, right?
You know, maybe that might not be far. You know, because I had one myself when I was a real little kid. Again, the same house with the alien in the backyard. I was walking down the hallway to my bedroom, and we had, you know, bedrooms on either side of the hallway, and the lights were out in the hallway, but there was still light coming from behind me. And I'm about to walk into my bedroom, and literally one of those shadow people jumped out of the doorway, scared the shit out of me. I ran back into the TV room and acted like nothing ever happened. But I saw one of these guys just pop out, like, you know, almost like Boo, but not exactly. You know, arms were more sort of at his side, but he just popped out of the doorway, and I saw it, and I just about shit a purple Twinkie, 360'd it back into the TV room, and I think, yeah, until years later, and of course everybody thought I was crazy. But you know, I was listening to Art Bell earlier this week, and I saw an episode about shadow people, and I had to listen to it, and I swear to God, Nathan, there's a guy who was on that episode, sounds just like you. You're because I have this thing with voices. I'm really, really good at recognizing voices. It used to be my job to identify people over the phone, and, you know, listening to conversations and being able to say, this is this person talking, and this is this person talking. That was part of my job. And the guy sounded just like you, was explaining just the way you would explain shadow people. And he said his name was anonymous, and said that he saw one, and then it turned into like a giant 8-foot praying mantis, but all black. You don't remember that, right? No, because it wasn't.
I don't. I have not heard that one, and it was not me telling the story. I promise.
But it is so weird. I'll try to find the episode because I saved it. Go listen to it on Art Bell and Periscope on YouTube, and if you can get to that part, you're going to hear it. You're going to go, "My God, that sounds like me," because it really, really sounded like you. I was so hoping it was you, because that would have been weird as hell, right? You know.
But
yeah, I never got through. I tried to call him a couple times.
You speak
I'm
of
east of the Rockies. I can never get through.
Because if you go to the show, the chat is nothing but how people miss him and how much he was a part of their life, and mine too. I used to listen to his show all the time when I could, you know. And I only recently found out that he passed away, and I'm like,
same.
I don't know how I missed it, but if you guys haven't listened to Art Bell, he was a pillar of the community. Let's just say he was a great guy. Didn't put up with any crap, but he had a really nice, polite, pleasant demeanor, and would let you talk. He'd call you out if he thought there was a little bit of BS going on. But he was just such a nice guy, and he must have been such an absolute joy to have been able to meet, and I missed out on it. So, hey, Baron, what's up, man? You got something for us?
No, I've been talking a whole hell of a lot, so I'm just sitting here being quiet, letting everyone else talk for a little bit.
Okay, because you got this look like you got something for us, and I know you, man. No, okay.
I'm checking stuff. I'm working on a couple of different things in the background, so sorry.
I just moved back to the States. I was about 15 years old. I've been back to the States off and on over the years to visit my mom and my family here, but I spent most of my time in Ireland. And wow. My parents had this a family friend, leaving his name out of it. He ended up canceling himself.
That's not okay.
Because of his wife. And we went to that was my first week back in America. I had this going on. And I took it hard because I really liked the guy. The few times I met him, when he came over, he was always really good to me, And his wife, geez. Anyways, after a funeral, it was a couple days after the funeral, I was walking up to my room. And this house I lived in is up in East Peoria. It was like over 100-year, almost 200-year-old farmhouse with its own little benefits. I mean, we found bones in the basement that my stepdad thought were human, turned out to be cows, but still, it was just a lot of weird times, Anyways, they cut out, as you're saying, the shadow person. I walked into my room, and before I could turn on my lights, I swear, I saw those old pictures that people would carve out of their kids, where it was just the profile, like a profile picture of their kids.
Right, like a cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was of the guy. I mean, it looked just like the guy, just the cameo, the profile of the guy. At this juncture of time, I'm just like, okay, what do you want? And it just flooded back. It just disappeared. And so that was my only real experience with the Shadow Man, aspect, other than when I was screwing around in an asylum, which I had no business in to begin with. But it was a rite of passage here in Central Illinois. You fucked around in a haunted asylum. But you said that turning into a mantis. You say that, and I just giggle to myself, not in that towards you. But as you read the Harry Dresden novels, there is a particular wife of somebody who turns into a mantis, a praying mantis.
Maybe they watched Art Bell or listened to Art Bell.
So it was just kind of, the correlation was just kind of funny to me.
It sounds creepy as hell, man. I would have shit a Twinkie, man. A big purple Twinkie had that happen.
4 weeks before that, my grandparents, talk about that. I didn't think about that. Yeah. My grandma died of cancer. A week later, my grandpa died. Doctor said of a broken heart. Literally a week after.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
Most of my family is like, well, you can't stay in Ireland because you have no more living family in Ireland. I guess you're going back to the States. Then that happened. So it was a weird couple months. So I don't know. They say tragedy is often the key factor for you to start to see things. The other side starts to come a little bit more in focus than those who don't know what death looks like or seen death. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see UFO, but I have to say, I agree with Hawkins. If an alien species ever showed up and made contact, it would be for one of two reasons. In either way, we're screwed. It would be to enslave us or to get rid of us because we're becoming too big of a threat.
You ever watch that? Watch Quinn's Ideas?
What?
It's Quinn's Ideas.
I don't think I've
a
seen that.
it's a YouTube guy. It's called Quinn's Ideas, and he gets into a lot of the ins and outs by a lot of the novels out there about
Yeah.
UFOs and stuff like that. Some of his most recent videos have been, based on the idea of aliens coming to visit us or invading us, and the reasons why they would do such things, or the reasoning behind them. As in survival of the fittest and stuff like that. Are we sending signals out and we're just making ourselves a beacon for anything out there to go, yes, there they are, we're gonna go get them, kind of idea. So it's kind of a weird kind of thing you want to think about, is like do these aliens even think like what we do? Because they're so far removed. Do they think in the same ways that that we do? Maybe, we don't know.
Yeah.
They might have a totally different aspect of life than what we consider. So who knows?
I always appreciated those the Predator movies for what they were. I mean, forget the bad acting, but just the concept of it. An alien species, a warrior alien species, sends down its young because their rite of passage was to hunt us. We are the most dangerous species on this planet, hands down. I mean, granted, there's some diseases out there that make us look like chumps, but as for walking around species, we are the most dangerous creatures on this planet.
Real quick, Natasha, welcome to the show. You're a new face here. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Yeah, I grew up in a family that was constantly worried about the potential for nuclear war. Growing up as a kid, my old man used to talk about it all the time. And we were very into prepping and things like that, even though there's literally nothing you can do to prep, for a situation like that. But I agree 100% with what you just said there. So I hope you're enjoying the show, and, feel free to chime in. Anybody else got anything else they want to, any stories they'd like to share? Baron?
Yes.
Come on, share with us. I hope you brought it up for the rest of the class.
Truthfully, when you're looking at, I know that the boy said that he's thoroughly thinking there are demons there and whatnot, but have they ever lashed out at you?
Not really.
In a way, yes. I'm convinced that a demon used our toilet, but that's for other reasons.
Okay, but you have not had like a personal attack or anything else like that, correct?
Aside from the guy standing right next to me, no.
Okay. You could also think of that it may not necessarily be a demon. It may also be a family member that is watching over not only you, but the house.
I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I do see what you're saying. And with certain things, I do think that's possible. But some with the things I'm describing, I don't think that's what it is.
And the other thing is that of all of us here, truthfully, I think that Connell has probably been exposed the most, just due to the fact of being an Irish. The Irish are very
superstitious.
Yes.
And part Romanian too on top of that. So I got both sides.
but for on the Irish side, just due to with if you look at history with the two of the Diamond, then you start looking at the other things that have actually happened on that island. That there's a lot of stuff that he probably has put into the back of his mind that he never saw, and everything else. So I can tell from that, or things that he knew that would probably be, if he called it out, his grandma would have probably flipped. So he just said, "Yep, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut."
Frying pans, cast iron frying pans. If you don't understand that, you did not have an Irish grandmother or a German grandmother, as the case may be.
Yeah, my grandmother, the only one I ever met was German or Russian or something. They always couldn't get that quite straight. And if you, I'll try and find a picture of her, but she looked like an old witch. I mean, even at my parents' wedding, she looked like she was haunting the pictures. It's just we never got along, and I never heard any good, pleasant stories from them, or even anything interesting. It was always, life is hard, suck it up. That's it, But that could be just, from any number of things. So I don't know. I didn't get much of that. Everything I know about my family history, I've had to search out on my own, so to speak. And I'm working on getting records from my mom's Irish side of the family, and hopefully that'll give us some good news.
I'm gonna skedaddle out of here, Shadow. Thank you for having
me. Okay, Rick.
On.
It was
nice meeting the rest of you guys.
It was a pleasure having you here tonight. You're always welcome. Come back anytime. And thanks for the nice comment in the videos. Appreciate that. And have a great weekend, man. It's still it's still for us it's Saturday night, but enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay. Take care.
You too, man.
Well,
I hope he develops that thing that he's got, because he's got something.
Yep.
He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
But yeah,
once you're touched, once you do something like that, you're forever open.
For better or worse.
I had a very similar experience to what he had.
Yeah, I've done, my exploring. My family, both my parents had polio, so religion was like a kind of almost forbidden thing in my immediate family. They didn't, they both had polio, so they both figured, God was mad at them, kind of thing. And I had to do all my own research, religious, spiritual, metaphysical, all of that. I had to do it on my own, and they were never happy about any of those kind of studies.
Didn't you once try to think about converting to Judaism just to make them mad?
Well, not to make them mad. I had some Jewish friends, and I seriously considered it because I like the people, but eventually they moved away, and I just went elsewhere and did my own research.
Don't lie to them. It's because you couldn't eat bacon. That's why you didn't do it.
I didn't think about that. That's pretty funny, sport. That would have been a tragedy. Gee, hold on a second. Do you guys know the history of
our house?
Oh no, we don't know the history of it. We do know that the people who we bought the house from basically lost it through financial difficulty, and they had kind of a weird sense of humor. Check this out. Remember? You know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't.
We were remodeling and painting the house, so we had to take the registers, where the heat comes in or the AC comes out. And
I remember it.
And I kid you not, in one of the downstairs bedrooms, when we took it off, I saw this freaking spider. I kid you not, it's this freaking big.
God, no.
Okay?
No, that's a hell no.
Okay, and I'm like, that can't be freaking real. It wasn't. It was rubber. But someone literally pulled off the register and shoved this thing all the way as far back as possible, knowing that someday someone was going to have to open that up. And I kid you not, we still have it. Do we use it for a craft or?
No, we didn't use it for a craft, but we seriously considered using it for a
Right,
craft.
and we still have this giant rubber spider. It's like this big and green and just hokey looking.
I'm glad they did it because I really like it.
But it was just, think of it. I mean, think of the effort. I mean, to do that.
I can only imagine if my mom had been the one cleaning the vents.
Right, I even took a picture of it, with my tablet before I went to grab it because I'm like, click. I'm not getting close
you still
enough
have the picture?
No, I don't think I might have it on one of my other devices. But I took a picture of it. I looked at it and went, "Oh my God, it's a giant rubber spider." But I mean, that if you think about it, that's some messed up
thing to do.
Stuff, to do.
That's
awesome. That is awesome. But
it was amazing.
I saw the greatest one actually today that you brought that up. Somebody was building a new countertop and an island countertop in a kitchen, and they put in a skeleton. Of course, it's not a real skeleton, but dressed it up like a worker who actually with the company shirt, company hat, and everything else, and
tools.
And about when it's going to be funny as hell. And the neighborhood's going to be really up and riling when they decide to actually take the top off and redo all this in about 20, 30 years because it's just a plastic skeleton that they just decide we're just going to mess with people and just throw it in there.
Yeah, I mean those are practical jokes that you don't even get to see. Someone else is just gonna. They don't get the benefit, but they know someday, and they don't know who, they don't know when, but they know someday someone is going to crap their pants.
Okay. I was 17 years old. I'm down Amelia Island, Florida. My aunt has a place there. She still does. And her friends also have a place there, still do. And her friends, the friends of her dad, good guy, really good guy. He was kind of a second grandfather there for me for a while. There's some rough parts. Anyways, he served in World War II as a Navy guy and as a cook on a ship. And he has some great stories about that. And I swear military cooks have some of the best stories. He knows, and this is no big surprise, I have a phobia of snakes. I don't know where it came from. I jokingly say it's from, WWF back where was it Jake the Snake and Macho ran the Savages match, but it's not. I joke about it sometimes. Anyway, so I'm up there, and I'm down there, and he's like, I have to go clean out the gutters. Keep me company. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So he puts up the ladder. I don't have a problem with heights. He's about ready to start walking up the ladder. I'm like, I'm about ready to let the 75-year-old guy clean out gutters. And I'm, at me being 17, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to let this happen. Hey, Ray, I'll go do it. Not a problem. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, no, it's gutters. I clean out my parents' gutters. Not a big deal. I get up there. I'm getting a couple handfuls in, just talking to him. He's like, hey. I'm like, what? Watch out for snakes. And as soon as he said that, I felt something wiggle through my hand like that. And it was I was 10 feet up. It's amazing how long it takes you to go up a ladder to how fast you're falling back from a ladder. So, yeah, no, I didn't have the, ooh, look, a fake skeleton, ooh, a fake spider. No, I had a freaking snake. I'm hoping it was a rat snake. But either way, and I fell back. I crashed hard. I mean, I was out of sorts for at least a week. But yeah, no, screw you for having a rubber spider. That's all I have to say. Rubber spider.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine what they were thinking. Other than they were upset that they were losing the house. So they're like, okay, fine. But I mean, that was it. Everything worked fine. I mean, there's all kinds of practical jokes and things you could do. But you're doing it to someone who had literally nothing to do with you're losing your house. You made some mistakes, you did some things, whatever, and I'm sorry it happened to you, but it was just kind of weird. I mean, it's funny when you think about it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, what if it had been someone who literally had a heart attack, from that and died?
Yeah, but
Because the police would figure it out. Someone would figure it out, and you would be able to go back and find them and cause them some trouble because you literally scared someone to death. But thankfully, that didn't happen.
It's still funny though.
It is.
There's gotta be some kind of weird law that protects you from that. There's all kinds of weird laws for everything else.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you intended to scare somebody,
right? There's a law up in Chicago, Illinois, saying that you cannot go fishing off the back of a giraffe. So I'm just saying, there's some weird laws out there.
In one.
Where'd Baron go?
The spooks got tired of him.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, Grim, that demon thing. Because I wouldn't be opposed to saying a prayer to. Whoa.
Okay.
I wanted to. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here.
Yeah, he's going on comments that were left 20 minutes ago.
I know.
Okay, internet dropped for Baron. It did that to me last night during Max's stream. I was so pissed.
You didn't miss much. We finished up the chat a little later, and then I hung out and chatted with Max for a half hour, 45 minutes, just him and I after the stream. But it was getting late, and
he's good. He's a good guy. So
yeah, he's one of the best.
Nathan, when you living down in Nashville, there's a lot of Lebanon has that haunted. It was a courthouse. Then it was what was it? It was a courthouse. It's in Lebanon. It was a courthouse, and it was a hospital during the Civil War. Now it's like a bread and breakfast type. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know where you're talking about.
It's like,
but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, there's a bunch of small little haunted areas all over Tennessee.
Oh yeah, I'm in one right now.
Oh yeah, a lot of them. Some of them are famous. Some of them aren't. It's
all of Tennessee is haunted. I can vouch for that. All of it, every bit of it.
And it's beautiful. I drove through there once on my way to Virginia, and it was. I've been through almost all of the states. I've been to Alaska or Hawaii, a few other places, but my God, that place is beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, seen from the highway, maybe you get some of the other places not so much, but I to this day, it's one of the prettiest places. If you like trees,
I have to say, after spending as much time as I did in Ireland, Tennessee is probably the closest to what Ireland looks like than any other state here in America. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Well, as far as things like Ireland, we have a ton of bay here. Tons of bay activity. People, this is the very tip of the Appalachia area, right? Tons of bay stuff going on here. I mean, tons.
Have you ever read the book from Neil Gaiman called American Gods?
Oh, yeah.
That when a person moves, they take their god or their superstitious with them. So they sometimes leprechauns or whatever I'm using leprechauns because I'm Irish. Sometimes they come over there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and I always thought that was a very interesting concept that the book brought up. And it wouldn't surprise me that when all the Scots and Irish were starting to move into Tennessee, they brought their gods and their, and the small folk with them, and it just, like I said, Nashville, Tennessee, the rolling hills. the always wet. Well, it's not always wet, but it rains a lot, especially in a bowl. It feels like it felt like Ireland to me when I was there, and I can't wait to move back. I really can't. Oh,
Well, stay out of the big city because they're building everything up and it's so expensive. I had to move out of the city proper just to be
Yeah.
able to keep existing here.
I
Big
have
cities
a
aren't very good.
friend who lives in Hendersonville. I have a friend who lives in Antioch, and I have a friend that lives in Lebanon. One of the three places I could probably make it work. Speaking of stuff, you play D&D. Are you still a big gamer, or is that something of the past for you?
I'm not a big gamer. It's in my past. I ran a DM. I made my own campaign. That's a story. And I made my own setting, rather. And
Cool.
can I go through it real quick? We were talking about the ghosts and the
Absolutely. Hell
paranormal
yeah.
and aliens and stuff. Okay. Literally 20 years ago, I was living in Carthage and I was the DM, right? So I was running basically a second edition D&D. I was running second edition D&D, and it was Forgotten Realms based Forgotten Realms stuff. That's what I grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So I said, how am I going to make, because it started getting boring, and I started looking at magazines, and the game group was breaking down, and I had to come up with something interesting, right? Because people were coming in and they were just kind of trolling the game because it wasn't interesting. People weren't engaging as much. So I was like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I've read all this paranormal government's conspiracy stuff. Let's use it. I came up with my setting. Dude, okay, I did not know not even half of what I know about the paranormal now. I mean, then that I do now, right? This was totally out of my head. I came up with Earth and all its people, okay? And it was set in the here and now. And you had I made a whole, I wish I can't find any of the stuff that I made up for it, but I remember it. The main thing was Shangri-La Spaceport in Antarctica. It was awesome. And it was being co-run by the Men in Black and the little grays called the Mara aliens. And I had no idea it freaking existed. I had no idea there was anything down there. The last thing I heard was, rumors of Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump. And then from Stargate SG-1, McMurdo and the Joint Research thing. By the way, interesting, you can't find any information, and it's all washed from Operation High Jump all the way to the Joint Scientific. It's just not available.
Gone. Yep.
Yeah, nope. I have some serious theories about that place. But anyway, yeah, that's my gaming. Well, I started gaming years before that. I started with D&D First Edition, and I actually played Gygax's spinoff, or not spinoff. He came up. It was I can't remember what it was called. Before it was called Dungeons and Dragons, but I played it, and I learned how to do all the classes. And I learned surprisingly fast. Some people stick with a class and it takes them a long time to break around it. And I was like, nope, I got this. And I just played class after class after class. And I learned how to DM and it's storytelling. And it was so much fun. My style, I didn't use pre-made stuff, right?
Same here.
It just didn't work for me, right?
Same here.
What I did was we all rolled our characters with the given environment, right? And I said, this needs to happen. Get to it. And I called it Shoot from the Hip Gaming, and they loved it. People loved it. Because I never knew what was going to happen either. I would just set the setting, and I said, the king said this. You need to make it happen. And they would go for it, or they would die trying, and they had a great time all the time.
I'm really surprised you aren't still gaming. I think you're a natural, dude.
Well, I can't find anybody that I want to game with. They all want me to use these newer systems that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but
Go,
you know what? Stay
go.
tuned. You know, find some old books, find some online groups, or go to your local store and put up a post-it note or whatever. You know, you'll find people, or maybe we can try some online gaming together, because the whole group that I hang out with, we're getting ready to do some stuff like that, and I've been in a few online games, and it's not bad. It's not the same, you know, but you know, between COVID and people getting older and having lives, and you know, not being able to commit to drive and the price of gas and things like that, you know, if you're really interested, let us know. We'll hook you up with some people and give you some tips, because you sound like you're a natural, and you know,
Well, I did it for years, man.
same here. You know, I'm still doing it. You know, technically, sometimes it's only on the phone with my friends, but you know, we're all older. You know, we have families and jobs and real lives, and you know, it just it sounds like something that you kind of miss, and I know that's the worst part is missing it and not having the same group of friends and family members or whatever that you played with. And you know, there's a lot of old school gamers out there, and I'm totally old school. I'm playing some new school games, but that's, you know, I'm willing to learn, because doing what we do on this channel, I've got to know the new stuff. You know, I can't just bag on it and not have anything to back it up. So I have to learn, you know, and there are things I like and things I don't like, you know, even with, you know, he knows I play in a game with him every other week. And, you know, there were things I didn't like about the original game. You know, I played AD&D, not second, but I did play second also. I just mushed the two together. But, you know, there's good and bad out there for all your, you know, gaming desires. And it just sounds like something you'd be, not only would you be great at again, but you'd probably have a lot of fun. Maybe, you know, even if you only get in a game once a month, it's just, there's something about it. You know, I don't want to sound like this one guy we know, but for so many people, it really did make them. You know, it made them who they are. It really, you know, I know for me, I would have been a totally different person and probably not better off had I never played. It made me who I am, and it made me a better person. It made me do better in school, in relationships, and you know, my whole life would have just been, I can't even imagine.
I actually picked up real life skills in that, in playing D&D.
Yes. I believe you. I can believe that after playing as the way I did. Unlike, did you start, Nathan? Did you start gaming when you were younger, or were you a teenager, or were you a young adult when you got into it?
Actually, I was about 20 years old, 21 years old when I started gaming. I had played video games up to that point, not role playing, but I ran into it and I just picked it up and I loved it. My buddy, my first game was in Saudi Arabia, and when we were deployed, Saudi Arabia, when we were deployed, and we continued for like 2 years after that until we all got reassigned. It was excellent.
I'm pretty sure you don't know this, but earlier today on my channel, I have a channel as well. I'm easy to find, the Cigar DM. I normally have a cigar, but I've been kind of broke of late. Cigars are not cheap right now.
I'll be right back. Where's the phone?
Nothing's cheap right now. But yes, earlier today, I do like every other Saturday, where I try to find vets to talk to, like yourself, who played RPG games while they were in the service, and see how how did it help them come back to the civilian world and readjust to everything. Was it through RPG? Was it through this, or was it through that?
Well, it definitely has helped.
So once this is all over, if I can get you information, I'd love to have you on the show if that'd be something you're interested in.
Sure. I mean, it's been a while. Just to be straight up front, it's been a while since I gamed, and I got out in '99. So,
that's fine. It's just I want to talk about your gaming experience, when you were in it, and why you were in the service. That's
okay.
I'm trying to bring light onto the fact that people, in all different scenarios, do play this game. And right now, I'm talking to vets about it.
I'm interested.
I got so far I'm on my 4th episode. I've had third episode, 4th episode, and I got some people I'm really wanting to talk to. They were also vets. I think it's a fun topic to talk about, and vets always have some of the more interesting stories when it comes to RPG and being a vet. But you live where you're at in Nashville. There's if you ever get up to Hendersonville, is it Hendersonville? No, Hermitage. Might be in
Hermitage.
There is a game
Hermitage.
shop. Yeah,
Hermitage. Go ahead.
There is a game shop there called Game Cave. I think it's there. I might be wrong. I mean, they used to have a place up in Hendersonville, but they moved, so they might have moved again.
I'm looking it up. You said Game Cage?
Cave, like a bear cave.
Found it. No, didn't find it. Wait a minute. Yeah, did find it. Yeah, it's right down the road. I mean, I work near there. They just built a Whataburger there, so I go there.
I've yet to try that place, but no. When I lived in Tennessee, I used to go there and get most of my gaming needs. They're more of a Magic the Gathering shop, but there are some old time gamers that do go there. I'm a paid DM as of right now, and when I lived in Missouri, I found my hustle. I'm making it work for myself. So I always look out for other DMs or other players who want to get back into the game, as such as yourself. It's like, and I know Tennessee. I know that area. I mean, I don't know as well as you do per se, but I do know that area. And I remember Game Cave being a really cool place. Now, going back to the whole haunted aspect of the conversation, you ever been to Burns?
No, but I've heard of it.
Burns, Tennessee. Was it Monty Bell State Park?
I've heard of it.
You ever saw the movie Ernest Goes Camping?
When it came out, it's been so many years, but yeah.
Right. I get you. I mean, I saw all the Ernest movies as a kid. I mean, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Goes Camping, so forth and so on. But the place that the reason why I bring this up is the place that they filmed Ernest Goes Camping is Monty Bell Park, or I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's in Nashville. It's in Tennessee, and the place has this really weird. You said earlier, Tennessee is fake ground zero right now. I don't know why, but the whole campsite has a really nice energy to it. I've been joking around with a couple of my buddies. If I could find somebody that semi looks like Ernest, just a body type, I'm gonna get him dressed up in the plaid, the vest, and the jeans, and just have him walk around at night during one of the camp outs. And see if I can get a hold of a Mocatrol golf cart and just fuck around with people. I'm a dick. But Jack and Shadow up there seem to put up with me.
Yeah. Well, I have military sense of humor, so it's all good.
Yeah. My grandpa served in World War II, the one who raised me. And unfortunately, I picked up his sense of humor, his personality. I've been told by my dad and my uncles. and unfortunately, I passed it on to my daughter. So it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, my grandfather was in World War II. Also, he was in the Navy.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, my grandpa. My dad's dad. My grandpa, the one who raised me. He considered himself the Irish James Bond, as he had put it, the Irish James Bond, because
Okay.
as my grandma would be walking behind him and smacking him in the back of the head whenever he looks not. Hey, there's a pretty lass walking this way. No, I'm going to keep looking this way because my Romanian wife will hit me or stab me. One of the two. So, Jack, you ready for tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's tomorrow?
Me and Shadow and Sun and Jack are going to be reviewing the 1980s Princess Bride movie.
Ah, cool.
I think hopefully you've watched the movie by now, right?
Princess Bride?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm giving Jack a little hell.
Oh, wait a minute. You hadn't seen it until recently?
No, I'd seen it a long time ago, but I haven't rewatched it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you did. It's awesome.
It is. I remember. I don't remember that much, but what I do remember, I really like. So I am looking forward to watching that again.
Oh, hey, you're not watched it yet?
Hmm?
I thought did your dad not have enough time the other day? Yeah, I watched it last night. Man, that made me sad to think about Andre the Giant, and the guy who played Detective Columbo, the grandfather in the show. They passed away. Both of them passed away some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they made a hell of a movie.
Yes, they did. It was, yeah. The 80s has some really good movies, but I don't care who you are. That's probably it should be top 5 in everybody's list. Yeah, The Princess Bride. I mean, I like The Labyrinth and I also like Dark Crystal, but I'm also kind of weird, so there's that.
I like those.
The Dark
You're
Crystal?
low on my weird scale so far, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of the best movies of all time. For a long time, that was my favorite movie. I had the whole outfit for the Man in Black. I did it on Halloween numerous times, and I'm trying to put together the same sort of outfit again because I'm just a little older, but I think I can pull it off. But we're gonna rewatch it tomorrow morning after breakfast before the show. And
Okay.
Nathan, if you want to come and hang out with us, just look for the Cigar DM. It'll be live about 2:00 avocado time. And that movie is just. The book was great too. The book was absolutely wonderful to read. It had a little bit of different things here and there. The ending was not as wonderful as the movie ending, but I get it. But he also wrote Marathon Man. Did you guys ever see that movie with Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah.
Ooh, man. A funny story. My dentist looked just like the dentist. Oh, God, it was terrifying. My old man had me watch some of the best movies of all time. Soylent Green, Silent Running, Rollerball, Planet of the Apes. And he wasn't a huge sci-fi guy, but I'd get home from school, and he'd say, this movie's coming on, Channel 5, watch it. I'm like, yes, sir. And I would watch him, and one night he said, watch this movie. You got to watch this movie. And sure enough, that movie was traumatic. Let's just put it that way. It's up there with Deliverance in a way.
I didn't see that until later in life, and I'm glad.
Yeah, he's not seeing it. He's not seeing it until he's out of the service. And speaking of the service, Nathan, we all hang out with a lot of guys, Barron and some other guys that you would just get along famously with. And
Dude,
I'm like
that
the
guy,
non-military guy.
The guy that was on here earlier, a chaplain's assistant. You know how rare we were? We were.
I can imagine.
God! He laughed when I said chaplain assistant. I was like, what's so funny about being a chaplain assistant? I was about to jump a shit, but he's like,
No,
I
he's a
was a
great guy.
chaplain assistant. I was like, oh my God, for real?
Yeah, we've
We
got
probably knew
Navy
the
guys.
same people.
We've got Navy guys. We've got Air Force guys. We don't actually have any Marines, which is weird. Probably because they're too busy eating crayons instead of playing D&D.
I'll be introducing a
But a lot of
Marine
Army
here.
guys. I'm telling you, I'm going to hook you up with all these guys. They're great guys, and we all get along like family. You know, we might as well be brothers. You know, I'm not going to say sisters because there's not too many women in our group, except Dolly and Dolly Pop. I don't know if you ever heard of her. She's a card. We don't all get along and agree on everything, but when it comes to gaming and sci-fi and fantasy, that's where we all come together. And I wanted to say real quick, I don't know if DM James is still in here, but I am so glad you made the show. I hope you didn't leave because I wasn't here. He's currently watching Death Stalker. I never saw that movie, but we talk movies.
Yeah.
We talk movies and comics and books and games and all the stuff that goes with it. And it's so awesome to actually have you here, Nathan. After all this time, we've been playing tag on Facebook and stuff like that. I really hope you can hang out with us, every single time. Whatever show we're on, just come and pop in, say hi, or hang out with us all night. You are absolutely more than welcome with this group. Trust me, I know these guys. They'll love you just like we do, and this was a really fun show tonight. I'm kind of bummed my friend Kevin couldn't show up, but maybe next time. He's got to get a laptop, and he just started a new job, and he's been a friend for. He's the only guy who's been on the internet who's been in my game consistently, consecutively for going on 30 some odd years now. We've been through thick and thin. I'm still running the same game from when I was in my mid 20s, and he's one of a few guys that are still in that game, and we're still running the same characters, on the DM, but I got NPCs that have stuck around, and it's just so. This invention of role playing and adventure gaming is just one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced. Like we were talking earlier, how we learn real world skills. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big survivalist. But you really get to kind of experience things that you wouldn't get to in real life. And I don't mean fighting hobgoblins and monsters and stuff, but just like the problem solving abilities that you develop, the skills that you can't really put a finger on, that just I can't tell you how many times some of these skills have gotten me out of real world trouble, just being able to call upon those memories and those experiences from actual gaming. It's such a phenomenal invention. Hello, Toshi. Yeah, James, you are. Oh my God!
And it gets people so engaged, and they invest everything into it, and they're like, "Yes, I love doing this," and they pick up those things and take them with them, and they don't even realize it. Sometimes.
Absolutely. That's why I'm so glad. My son here, I noticed when he was playing with his friends at an early age that he was dungeon mastering for his friends in the backyard or the front yard, literally without dice, basically LARPing. How kids pretend cops and robbers and stuff, but he was doing it without me having ever taught him. He was doing it, and I just can't wait to see him run his first dungeon. There's a Dungeons and Dragons club at his school, but I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think I'm gonna be very interested in any of those people. I've already met one of them, and
yeah, you can imagine the kind of.
I'm not gonna say anything, but
the kind of people that would be, potentially in a Dungeons and Dragons club in a high school. It's not the same when we were kids. There's a lot of politics and SJW stuff that are rampant in that sort of area. but maybe he could, Shanghai them away from the club and bring them on over to the house, and they can use my books at the dinner table and do the Stranger Things. I had a group of friends, and we did that. We were those kids on the bikes getting into trouble and then going home and playing D&D every spare minute. It did so much good for the hobby. Unfortunately, it's going to do a little bad because of the way the world is. But I just can't imagine where I would have been without Dungeons and Dragons and Traveler and Star Frontiers and Call of Cthulhu. All those games, they did something, and it's hard to put into words, but I know we all understand what I'm saying and how awesome it made our bad times. It was always something to take us away from, whether it was the bullies or breakups or, problems at home. I had a group of 4 friends, that we all had completely, maybe it was actually 5, but not including myself 5. We all had different issues, but we could all come together at the table, regardless of whose house it was, and just be there, for each other without having to talk about those other issues. We could, we had that bond, we had that special thing, all the way through college when most of us all moved away and I made a new group of friends. But, I know if I ever bump into them, I could, tell them what happened in the game world after they left, and they'd care. They'd be interested in hearing the adventures of other players that traveled through like their lands. One of my friends had a kingdom, and I could tell him stories about how people traveled through your kingdom, and I ran your character as an NPC, and they just loved it or hated it or got thrown in the dungeon or whatever for misbehaving or whatever. And it's just we were so lucky that it came around when it did. I started playing D&D when I was 12 years old in 67, 77, roughly 79, 80. And I had very few periods of my life where I wasn't involved in one game or another. And I just hope that there are more TV shows and movies that can bring that sort of wonder back to it for the people that are playing now or who've never played before.
Yeah, I hope so.
I know we talked about a little bit last time, Max's chill stream, and I know there's a few of you guys that are having issues with the new movie that's being released, but I'm actually hoping the after effect of that movie actually brings young 10-year-olds, back to the game. If it wasn't for the movie, like say Ninja Turtles, a bunch of kids wouldn't be watching. The Ninja Turtles wouldn't be the thing. It was the movie, then the cartoon. The D&D movie, it could be bad. I'm not saying the first one was bad. I don't have much hope for the second one, but it still brought people to the table to play out of curiosity, and I'm hoping the newest one that comes out, it does have the same effect that the first one did. It'll bring kids to the table, and because it has been made by Hasbro, the people brought you the G.I. Joe, He-Man, and all the other kid-friendly cartoons back in the day. I'm hoping it will grab the kids yet again, like it did with G.I. Joe and He-Man, and put them at a table with their uncle who plays D&D on the weekends, at his or somebody of that nature. Or maybe make the fathers like, yeah, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons back when I was a teenager, or before we had you guys. Yeah, I think I saw some of the old books, and bring them back and bring the kids into the fold. That's what I'm hoping. But wish one way, and
Yeah, I hear you. I had to get away from my own opinions to help other people get into it. Because, I mean, you get into gaming and you're going to have all these people with these huge ironclad opinions, and it's just like, whoa, you know? And if you don't agree with them, you're the enemy. And I'm like, whatever. I had to get past that. I got sucked into it a little bit, but then you got to let people enjoy how they're going to enjoy their way. So,
Yeah.
I have my ways. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's not my business to tell another person what their fantasy looks like. Or their sci-fi. It's not my place, not my business.
No, but you can share yours. You know, you can share your own world. That's something that I've been helping Connell with, and my son on the Sunday show that we do with Connell. I'm doing a little bit of world building teaching because I've made galaxies, you know, entire galaxies of worlds. And, you know, I as much as I love D&D, I have a special place for sci-fi, you know, in my heart. You know, I love exploring, and for me that was a big part of it, especially with Traveler and Star Frontiers, the describing of a whole new world. One of the things I loved about Star Wars the most was the worlds. I know they were, you know, bio areas, you know, all desert, all snow, whatever. But who's to say that there aren't going to be worlds that are just like that? It's all desert, or it's all snow, or it's lava, or jungle, or forest, or you know, mixes. But just the idea of creating your own worlds and then sharing them with people who will give a damn, you know, who will actually care and invest, you know, that bit of time at the table, appreciating the world and going on, you know, to tell the stories to their other friends that I don't know, or their kids or their loved ones or whatever, and sharing these stories. If there was, you know, some way to access the Akashic records, I guarantee you there's a whole wing of nothing but D&D stories in there. You know, all these great, wonderful worlds and stories and adventures that we can't even imagine, just as far as the eye can see, just great stories out there from the most unlikely of people, you know, the nerds and the geeks that we all were, but have yet to be born or are just going through it their first time. I guarantee there's kids out there who would just blow us away with their imagination. And it's, you know, only through the internet, I guess, that we get to meet these people and share with these people and have these conversations about this hobby that, you know, was probably existed in some fashion throughout the, you know, ancient history, you know, from all the way back to Egypt or whatever, farther, where, you know, people made up these stories and had these imaginary adventures, but they still mean something to each and every one of us that you just really can't put your finger on it. But it's so special that you know, I really feel blessed being able to have these conversations with you guys and everybody in the chat and the people that come on to talk to us. And I really hope we get to keep doing this for a good long time, because it's just something that's so wonderful. The, you know, the rules and the additions, half of that doesn't matter when you think about it. When you're telling your stories, you know, maybe, you know, you have that Stranger Things roll 20 moment where, you know, the little girl, she rolled that 20 at the most perfect moment, you know, but really it's everything but that. It's, you know, what you did, you know, you made that move, that idea you came up with that saved your friends' lives, you know, that most of us are never going to have, you know, experiences like that outside of the military or law enforcement or something like that, where you did something that really, really mattered. But, you know, up here, it's going to matter to these people. They're going to, you know, years from now, they're going to think about it. We're not going to be around, you know, and they're going to think about these games and those moments, and it's going to stick with us forever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, Shadow, I'm going to have to say goodnight. I'm got a long day. I had a long day today. I did the video with Bruce, and I look forward to talking to you soon here, Nathan.
I subscribed.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll have to.
Cool.
We'll have to trade information at some point, and I'll have to have you on my show for the vets who play.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I guarantee you'd be a great guest on your show, Connell. Another military guy who clearly benefited from this hobby. And I'm sure his insights and opinions on gaming in the military will be a great episode to watch.
I can say gaming in the military is way different than gaming out here not in the military. It is way different.
Yeah, I can only imagine. But with all that being said, y'all have a good evening. Thank you, Shadow, for having me. Thank you, chat, for being here. And listening to our stories of the spooks and the aliens and everything in between. And
we're definitely gonna have to do this again. Maybe next time we'll do ghosts, because I didn't tell my ghost story, and it is a ghost story.
He says he doesn't believe in ghosts, but the only way he can explain it is via it being a ghost.
Yeah.
Then you believe in ghosts.
There was somebody who how was it put
Thanks,
to me?
James. I'm going to look into that because I really like what you were talking about earlier. Sorry,
It was a friend of the family. I was talking about the supernatural stuff when I was a kid to a friend of the family's, and his response was, and this was an Oxford teacher or professor back when I was little. He's like, it's either all true or it's all not true, and it's only for you to figure out. It's only for you to make up your mind which it is. So I like to think it's all true, and we're not alone in this universe or even on this planet.
Yeah, so, I think that's the overriding idea. Let's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Right.
So, good night, Connell. We love you. We'll see you real soon. Good night, Malke. Thanks for stopping by, James. DM James, thanks for coming in. This is our friend Nathan. He's a great guy.
Dude, I am so glad I was able to make tonight's show. I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to because I did not sleep last night. I ate something wrong, and it didn't let me sleep all night. So I was like, okay, it's 2:00. I got to take a nap. I am not falling out when Shadow comes on again. So I took a nap, and I'm
so glad you showed up. So glad we got to talk. The 3 hours we've been hanging out have just flown by, and
it doesn't even feel like 3 hours.
It really doesn't. My son and I have kind of become addicted to doing these live chats. Little guy likes talking politics and stuff that he's in history that he's a big buff on. But he's a smart kid. You're gonna love him like everybody else does. He's my pride and joy, and everywhere I go, he goes, etc. Except when he's at school, of course. But we've got to do this as often. This is our third or fourth Saturday, and it's a thing. Every other Saturday I have a game, which means next Saturday I play with this guy Bruce Lombardo of Dick's Division. He's a great guy from the Navy, and we play like an 8 to 10 hour game. But right after the game, I'm right back here doing this again Saturday night, and we did 12 hours last week. I did 12 hours. I went 8 hours, then 4 hours, and a lot of people had to leave early, but we've done this till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we do this with other people on other channels and stuff, and it's some of the most fun I have on the internet. I'd rather be doing this chatting with my friends than a lot of other things, and it's so much fun and so rewarding, that, like I always say, we're not alone. The world wants us to feel like we are alone, but we're not. We've got friends out there, and this wonderful invention of the internet, with all its, flaws, has this blessing built into it that we can all share, you know, these conversations and these good times with all of our friends out there in TV land, and it really is addicting. It's so much fun,
Yeah.
so rewarding,
Yeah.
and I want to thank everybody who was out tonight. You know, we had more people tonight than we've had before. Maybe it was the topic. Maybe it's just because more people are enjoying our company, which I'm eternally grateful for. We both are. It's you know, of course, you know, it's just so much fun. You know, I'm already looking forward to next Saturday. You know, my schedule's pretty rough. We do a video almost every day, but this is our favorite.
I've
This
been
is-
trying to watch all your videos, but you got so many. I'm like, oh my God.
You know, and not
Yeah.
every one of them is for everybody, but you know, we're honest. We're you know, we tell it, we call it like we see it, and we just want to share and give back to so many people who've done so much for us. You know, we've only been doing this 2 years. Come next week, and you know, we wouldn't be here without wonderful people like you and all of our friends in the chat, and all of our friends that come in and talk to us, and they're all such a great bunch of guys. I can't wait for you, Nathan, to meet them all and develop, you know, relationships with them just like I have, because I've only been doing this chatting online thing for about 4 months, since April I think it was, and I've made some great friends, some people I would literally trust my life with. And it may sound weird and corny, but you know, I really would, you know, and we're always here for each other. You know, you can find us on Discord, Shadow and Sun, Facebook, blah blah blah. You know, or just hit me up through a comment, and you know,
Yeah.
we're here for each other. You know, we're not alone. We've got friends, and we're not those little nerdy little geeks, you know, back in high school getting bullied and picked on and made fun of anymore. We're now grown ass men with you know a lot of wisdom and experience behind us. That, you know, God help anybody who messes with any of our friends, because you know we will be there for each other.
Yep. Yep. And I have more paranormal stuff.
I can't wait to hear
So
it.
much more.
You made the show.
Yeah.
You know, every show gets better than the last, and this one is no exception. It wouldn't have been the same without you. And
Dude,
I
Thank you, man.
cannot
I
wait to have
appreciate
you
it.
back. Cannot wait to
Yeah.
have you back. It's, you know, we should have done this sooner, but you know, my friend Bruce says everything, you know, happens at exactly the right moment. You know,
The force
you know,
works in mysterious ways. Yeah.
amen, brother. Amen, brother.
Yeah. I
Okay.
will say
Well,
that, I was gonna say that this stream wouldn't have been what it was without you.
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
He's not just, you know, throwing out kind words there. It really was. And I'm gonna have to do some research, man. I mean, I can talk about the alien stuff, other people's experiences, you know, but I threw out most of mine. I got a couple more that I didn't share, but we definitely have to do this absolutely again. The aliens, and we can do Bigfoot, we can do ghosts, you know, we can do all that stuff, you know, anytime. Um, and
Okay,
hopefully,
yeah, I'm
you know,
totally down for that. That is totally my jam. I might not be able to
I know.
keep up with you guys with music and movies, but old school
That's-
gaming and paranormal.
if that's your jam, then we'll definitely make it happen.
And action figures. You know me.
Absolutely, I have no problem with that either.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of my love for things that are plastic, you know, and you know, it's just one of those things. You know, my friend Bruce, he was a big action figure guy too. You know, he talks about it all the time. He was talking about the Kenner and He-Man and stuff like that. You know, he's a bit younger than me, but not by much, like 7 years, I think. But
Let me show you something I've been working on.
all All right, Shin. I also see you're new here. Maybe you've been here before and I just missed it. I have a hard time seeing the chat, but it's really good to have. Oh my God, look at this, guys. Oh my God, everybody who's not here, who missed this, that is freaking stellar.
Yeah, I am still here.
And of course, he's with us till the bitter end. It wouldn't be the same without you either, buddy.
That is my astromech.
Does it move or light up or anything yet?
The head moves. I've got the battery taken out of it. The battery died. I used a bad battery, but right now it's got head tilt. I'm going to give it driving, and right now, what I'm going to do first is just RC car it and yank a design out of something and put it in it. But the head will move. It's just the battery died in it, and I need to get another battery. It's 12-volt system. It's got, you saw that black panel in the front? That's the speaker. Yeah. It's a junk bot. The head is a beer bucket. And it's a office trash can. And I totally 3D printed those white legs. It took a month to print them. And I've got a bag full of failed adapter parts that will,
It's not one of our streams.
It's not one of our streams if our tablet
doesn't fall over. But yeah, I've got, these are the wheel mounts that didn't work. They will become something else later. But yeah, that's the astromech. I have a heavy build pit droid. He is 4 feet tall, or 3.5 feet tall. And he actually folds up like in the movies, but he doesn't do it. You have to do it manually. You don't just hit him and he goes boom, 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 boom. No, you have to do it manually, but it does fold up, and he's like a giant action figure, all black series.
Oh wow!
Like super articulated, and he lights up. He's got a blue eye and a red eye.
That's cool.
He's on my channel. Anyway, I opened my door and I have him sitting in my hallway staring at me, beckoning me to work on him, and I saw him looking at me. I was like, okay, dude, I'm going to show you off now. Quit staring at me.
That is so cool, man. You got to show that off next time.
I will.
Because, as many subs as you can get from us and vice versa, you're welcome. You're welcome to,
Oh, cool, man. I appreciate it. I'm not really after subs. I'm doing this for mental health.
I know. We do too, but, we can't help but dream, to get a little bit more popular and be able to reach more people because, we've made such great friends here that, I got a little bit of room left in this old black heart of mine for a few more friends, especially if they're half the kind of guy you are. And Bruce and Connell and DM James and Grim, one of our oldest friends here in TV land and in real life. It's just so much TV fun, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep using that one because it is,
Yeah, I mean, it's called literally YouTube. Okay, that's cheesy. Dad joke. I'm getting away from the dad joke time now. Okay.
It's okay.
But
before we let you go, we're going to be doing an interview show, like a classy interview show coming up, and we got to interview you, man. We got.
You want me to? You want to interview me?
Hells yeah! You've been on our list for a while, and we just need to do a few things with the studio, and just like a real, I want people to get to know you. Just like the other people that we're going to interview, a real, not high quality professional, but
right.
We'll send you a list of questions so that if there's anything you don't want to talk about, we won't touch those subjects. but the show's called 20 Questions with Shadow and Sun, and just you, me, and the boy, and we'll just have like a real heart-to-heart conversation so that all my friends get to know my friend Nathan here, because you are one hell of a guy.
Damn. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I really mean it. In my previous career, I had to get to know people really well, really quick. My life depended on it, and I had to be able to trust people. And I know I can with you. And I wouldn't have you on if I didn't feel that way. And you just got a sub.
Cool.
Shin says I interview Nathan every time I see him. Do you know Shin?
Yeah, he used to be my neighbor. He moved to the place I went to the Bigfoot thing at.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We went to the Bigfoot conference together.
Really? I really want to do one of those UFO things in the desert, but these last 2 years just haven't been a thing. Maybe we can find one that's in between and hook up and hang out for a weekend.
Maybe that would be awesome. I'm up for driving. Mostly. I can do the big drive. I mean, from here to Shingoji's place is 4 hours.
Oh.
But I have driven back and forth several times from El Paso to Nashville, so that's a big drive.
I remember when you were showing those videos of the when you saw the tank, I think it was, on the road.
The what?
It was like a tank or an APC that you showed.
Oh, yeah. That's right down the street from here.
That's cool.
Yeah, motherfucker's huge. It doesn't look big until you get right next to it. And it's like 7 feet tall. Oh my god!
I'm a big tank fan. I used to play 40K a lot, and I kid you not, about 40 tank models from that game, and I lost them all in a garage fire. One day I'll get them back, but they're kind of spendy now. Sometimes $200 a model. So, but I love me some tanks, man.
That's why I designed my own stuff. I've got a printer and another printer sitting right over here. And well, you've seen my printed stuff. I did that. I did some of that. I did the
Final Faction stuff.
Yeah, the Final Faction stuff. And well, I don't have anything handy. It's all somewhere where I can't get to it, of course. But somebody asked in the chat.
Thanks, Grim.
Thurston Howe, was I going for an R5? I was going for outer rim junkyard look. There's a thing in Star Wars Resistance called, I don't know what it's actually called, but I nicknamed it in my head, Looked-All Droid Works. Well, Somebody now refers to all my builds as Looked-All Droid Works. And I'm like, this is cool. So, and he has one of those, those big Disney droids that they sell at the parks?
Right.
Well, you cannot buy parts for them, right? It's not like an RC car. You have to buy a whole nother droid to get one thing, right? So it's retarded. Well, it's a big chunk of plastic. I tend to specialize in big chunks of plastic. So I need a center foot, and I made one of my own. And dude made a whole series of videos about how he was on target and his foot broke and he had to stop at Lothal to get a new part because they were out over here. And I was like, that is cool, man. That is so cool.
Wow, man. You could probably make some serious coin. You keep that up.
Thing is, I love the making, the designing. I cannot manage myself out of a brown paper bag. I want to give everything away. I want to spread the joy, and I am no good at managing myself. I didn't even charge him for that droid part. I said, wow, dude, just give me your address and watch the mail. And it came in, and he's using it in all his videos now. I was like, oh my God. That's why I'm sitting on like bags and bags of mouse droids and astromechs. I've got my own line of, I call it in-universe knockoffs. Like, you know, we have got knockoffs out here. You know,
Sure.
like people consider Android a knockoff of an iPhone. Well,
Right.
you know how you get R2D2 and the droids from the official sources in universe.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what if you can't afford the nice stuff? Who are you gonna go to? Lithal Droid Works, the in-universe knockoff, yet compatible.
That's awesome, man. That is
Yeah.
so cool.
I mean, I'm like, my head is so overactive. I've got to do this stuff, or I'll just go crazy, burn up, you know. And
That's part of being an artist, man. You gotta, you know, we've got these little ideas for gaming that we do, and sometimes you have to do it. You can't. It's like Close Encounters. You gotta tear up your kitchen and build a Devil's Tower. You know, you just gotta do it.
yep.
The neighborhood may
And-
laugh and think you're crazy, but when it's done, it's a work of art.
Yeah, and no one else could have even thought to do that. Oh, I do have something. Here's one of the larger mouse droid compatibles.
That's cool.
Thank you. This was supposed to go to Hip Hop Trooper, and he lives here too, but he never got it. So I never saw him to give it to him.
Well, you'll see him, I'm sure. You know, things happen for a reason, and you know when you do, you'll probably have some cool story of, you know, imperial entanglements that kept him busy. You know.
Yeah. I'm trying. I do have something here. This is my comlink.
No way.
My take on a comlink.
That's pretty cool.
Electronics ready.
Yeah.
What are you gonna put in it? Just beeping and things,
Beeping
or maybe
They make these tiny, like, clip-on walkie-talkies, and I also do electronics, so I could probably gut one and put it in here to, like, not go far, but go across the room or on the other side of a wall or something. But I sold one of
That would be
these
pretty
in freaking Greece. Dude bought it. He's got two now. I sent him two. I was like, I will never get a chance to sell anything in Greece again. You're getting two. So I sent him two to freaking Greece.
You're world famous, man.
Yeah.
It's been crazy, and okay. I do compatible. I don't do, because you know what? It's somebody else's. I don't want to make somebody else's stuff. I want to make my stuff, because my stuff is great. I like making my stuff. I don't like other people. They say, why don't you make a droid that looks like in the movie? Because I'm like, well, they already made those. I don't need to make another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I get like wound up. I just finished a cup of coffee, so I'm like spinning all the way back up.
Don't even sweat it, man. Have you ever thought of doing blasters?
I have done blasters.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. I did a bunch of pistols, right? I did the Clone Wars. I can't think of anything right now. I did the Clone Wars. I did a bunch of Han Solos, the broom handle ones. I did the Mausers.
You saw that Mauser I got, right?
Yeah, that thing is freaking cool, man. I bet it's heavy, isn't it?
Oh, it's solid metal. It's fully automatic. We fired it in the backyard. It goes through a bag of BBs in like 2 seconds. Just it's freaking epic. I saw that. I was going to get something else at the gun show, and I saw that. I don't know if I told the story, but my old man had a gun shop, and before that, he used to buy guns through the mail as a kid.
I did
And
hear
he
that
had
story.
he had 20 broom handle Mausers and sold them all to pay for me being born.
Well,
And it
there's your
didn't save me.
benchmark. There's
Yeah,
the benchmark right there.
we're getting ready to do this oil painting. We've got an artist who's going to do an oil painting of the two of us, like a back to back, sort of a cartoony logo picture of us. But we're trying to get, right now the weather's too hot to wear anything in the backyard costume wise, but I may have to commission a blaster from you for it. Something totally original. So that I can hold it in the photo. He's gonna be the sword guy. I'm gonna be the gun guy, and we'll have to talk later about that because I could use a real gun, but I think it would be better for the show if I had something that wasn't real. Something more sci-fi looking. Because I've got real guns. And I we do appreciate our firearms, but for the the theme of the show and everything. I think it would be better to have something, sci-fi-ish,
Right.
It's clearly nothing real because, I could pose with something pretty scary, but, I don't want it to seem like, just.
You don't want that element in your environment in this thing.
Exactly.
I get you.
Because.
That's why I don't smoke on camera.
Yeah,
I just don't want to bring that element to anybody else, Yeah,
I do occasionally when it's just the guys. But and Connolly smokes cigars. But I'm kind of trying to quit. And I notice you're doing the patch thing, so maybe we can,
somebody is. Somebody here is.
Yeah, one time he walked down the stairs. They were doing a live stream. Walked down the stairs and turned the camera back on, just on him smoking, and didn't say a word for the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from that.
Very mad about that.
Yeah, and Colin smokes cigars. That's his thing, but that's kind of different than smoking cigarettes, And like I said, I need to quit one of these days, and especially if I want to keep doing this.
I hear you. Yeah, but that's why I keep that element off of my channel, and I don't want to put it in somebody else's channel either.
Right.
I just wish it didn't lock up when I got off and put myself on mute. It didn't. It locked me totally up. I couldn't. The buttons were frozen. Everything was frozen. I could hear you, but I couldn't do anything but chat to you and YouTube. Yeah,
and I got to say, man, people all night long have been saying what a great guest you've been. Your way with words, etc. I say a lot. It's a drinking game we have. If I say you got to drink, and I've got quite a few of my friends pretty hammered. I'm working on it. But.
Cool. Well, I am glad I did not disappoint. I had a little bit of anxiety before I came up on here. I was like, he don't know me very well, and when he finds out that what will happen, but I was like, you know what? Fuck fear. Just drive on. Go forward, see what happens, deal with it.
Like I said, you're among friends here. We may give you a hard time, but you know what?
I would expect no less.
Exactly. We all agree. If you're not real friends, you can't flip it, back and forth,
Yeah.
I give Connell a tremendous ration of grief, but you know what? He's still my little brother, and he'll always be my little brother, just like you. We might as well be family as far as I'm concerned. Maybe that's easy for me to say. Most of my family passed away a long, long time ago. I've got one member left, and maybe that's why I look at people that way. But one way or another, whether just being part of humanity or the community or the fan base or the fandom or whatever, it just transcends just normal friendship. I think we have all these things in common.
Yeah, it's rare
It,
to.
it really is, but it's weird because I've had friends all my life, obviously, but some of the friends I've made later in life have felt like better friends than I've had in some of my past relationships. It's I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that we're all more mature and we know what we want in a friend, and if we see it, we let each other know. And
Yeah, well, I have become a lot more tolerant and forgiving because you realize, man, I am a shitty person. I hope people like me still, or that's me. So I was like, I am going to like all the shitty people. No.
well, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. We've all got our flaws. We don't all agree on every single thing in life, but when it comes to this, there's some of my friends that are not big Star Wars fans, and I have my ups and downs with Star Wars. I have. There have been times I hated it. There have been times I absolutely adored it, more than anything else in the world.
Yeah,
And,
I'm not even wearing a Star Wars shirt today. Not even.
Cobra. That's awesome. There's a lot of Cobra fans, a lot of He-Man fans, a lot of just, we have so much to be fans of, compared to when we were younger. And it just, it's brought us all together in ways that I guarantee the creators never imagined. They never really thought, oh, there's going to be conventions. Oh my God, I can't wait to get to the next convention. Oh, the little guy has no idea what's in store, for the
You've never
first
been to
convention.
one?
No.
Oh, what's the one you're planning on going to?
We don't even know yet. I haven't even we live in California, so
Yeah.
there's a couple big ones.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all
But,
got oh shit, I can't even remember right now.
Like Wizard
Coffee only
Con,
spins me up so parch.
I've been to quite a few over the years, but yeah, he has no idea. We just gotta get our costumes and a big fat wad of cash and just have a
save
blast.
up.
Oh yeah, it's the money issue isn't the big thing. The big thing is transportation because I don't drive, and
Our car's broken.
our
Or
car's
at least my mom thinks it is. It's too afraid to drive.
yeah, it had some issues, but it
Well, no,
seems to be,
they figured out, like they can't figure it out what's wrong with it.
yeah, the car was just acting up and just kept acting up, and we sent it to 5 different mechanics. They couldn't figure it out, and then it just decided to work normal again. But she's not big on the idea of going to a hotel, wandering around, watching a bunch of weirdos. Some women are. They're just not into it. But we're supposed to do a convention for the company that makes Arduin, and they want us to have a table for them and do the the meet and greet and hand out free product and stuff like that. And we're working on that, so maybe that'll be the first one. But if I can get to one before then, because that one probably won't be for a year. I was hoping for the Renaissance Fair this April, but that didn't happen, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's only a couple of states away, Grim, going all the way out to Virginia, I've done that. That's a 4-day drive, and I did it with a pregnant cat. When I moved out to Virginia, I had a pregnant cat in the U-Haul with us, and that was no fun. 4 days in a U-Haul, but maybe we can find a way to meet somewhere in the middle at one of the Texas cons that's coming up or something like that. Because there's a lot of our friends in Texas, and we'll make it work. Yep, space operas. Who doesn't have a favorite flavor?
Everybody in chat, I haven't been chatting because if I chat back while I'm on here, this is my microphone. It's right next to the keyboard, and I get some of this. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
It's really loud. So I'm not ignoring. I'm just not able to get to them this way. And apparently I can't mute the mic because it'll kick me off. So that's fine. Okay. I'm going to get off of here.
Not a
I'm
problem.
starting
It's
to
been
spin down now.
no worries, Ben. This was
all right.
an absolute joy to hang out with you, and I'm looking forward to next week. You know, if you can't make it, that's okay. But if you can,
I'm going to try. I'm going to try
really
because
appreciate
Saturdays are my day off. I mean, maybe I wasn't supposed to get paid this week yet, so I wouldn't be out and about. The force works in mysterious ways. I mean, I'm still going to get paid, but it just
Thank the
didn't
maker,
happen
man.
today.
Yep.
All right, guy. Have a great weekend. Maybe we'll see you
Okay.
tomorrow on Cigar DM show. Would love to have you hang out with us again. You know, we got to do this more, man.
Yeah. Okay. I'm out. This has been a blast, y'all. I'll talk to
Good
you
night,
soon.
everybody.
I'll be
God
online.
bless. We love you guys, and thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Nope. Don't do it again.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right, everybody. Thank you all for making this a absolutely wonderful evening. For those of you who stuck with us to the end, we love you guys.
Yep.
Graham, I can't wait to talk to you on the phone. Maybe Monday, if you're free. Maybe
Oh, and for those who don't know who I was talking about, I was gonna say 2 times no. When he was with Connell, he just left the live stream, leaving him there
Yep.
to run
Because
it.
I forgot to hit the end broadcast button, and I just clicked out the other way, and it was funny because I could still hear Connell talking, you know, laughing at my boomer moment. But
And
you
the
know,
funny thing was that Connell did the same thing not too long after that.
good night, Thurston. Good night, Shin. Good night, Grim. Good night, all you guys. Nathan, exactly. What a ride. This was a blast.
Yep.
I can't wait to talk to each and every one of you. You know, and those of you who didn't get to come and join us, if you want, the link is always in the description, or you can request the link. There's always room for one more until we get to, I think, 10 people.
I think
And,
so.
you know, I can't wait to meet you guys online and one of these days in person at a con that's near us or you or what have you. But thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been the same without the sport. I'm glad you stuck through to the bitter end. Good night, John Boy. Oh my God, that's classic, man. We will see you guys real soon. Bye.
Good night.